come one. Come on, right on down to Friday. Yeah, baby. Hell yeah, guys. One more time. Yeah. Yes. Folks, it's Friday. Feels good. That's what I'm talking about. Yay! The little kids are cheering. Your dog's outside barking. Somebody just crashed their car. Everybody stands up and they're clapping, dude. It's Friday, folks. I believe there was once a great song made about this day. Unfortunately, that was before my time. As a well-renowned and heavily balanced content creator who could sing such a song here live for you. I will not. Sing mode is gone. Good to see you all. Welcome in. Boy, oh boy, do we have a day ahead of us. We're going over the Star Citizen Monthly Report, chatting about ships, talking about features, because holy crap, we don't get to hear about features anymore. This is the last vestige of Star Citizen open development regarding features and stuff, really, that we have, besides devs kind of talking off the cuff at conventions, over on Spectrum, in random people's Twitch chats. This is now the real only way that we get to see what's going on when it comes to features, so I'm going to walk you through it nice and slow. All the rants, all the context, all the background, plenty of chats. And if you're not into that, don't worry, you don't have to sit here and watch this. It will be all edited down and added to Space Tomato 2 for you, probably by Monday. So you'll get a nice summary, you'll get all that stuff. I will also have a overview of the ship progress that we've been making too, as we do every month. We've got ourselves our ship tracking sheet here, and we will be taking a nice, good long look at that, because there's plenty of ship news to be had this week, or this month as well. Guys, we got like hacking news, we got scanning and radar, we got engineering, inventory, control surfaces, flight models, economy stuff, mission stuff. It's a solid monthly report. I've only skimmed it. I've checked out a couple of small things because I wanted to give you guys quick updates before we got into this, but this is gonna be a good chat. And then right after this, if you are one of the lovely individuals who do support us and keep us going, thank you so much. You are amazing. You guys, seriously, you drive this forward. I will be having a podcast episode with Mr. Kraken live on the Discord channel, and you guys can come and sit in there and watch it, ask questions, throw out some jabs, do a little banter, and then even if you don't get to catch that live, you can still come and watch that early on Space Tomato 2 for the rest of the weekend. Everybody else will be coming live on Monday, so don't fret, don't worry, Mondays are still good days. And that is my hello. Big announcement. As Mrs. Tomato has said over on chat, the nail is in the coffin. We're making the call. We will be clearing everything that we have out of this house and moving back to the States, and we will not be coming back here. So these next 7 days will be the last times you guys see this room. We have experienced enough hardship here, and are really at this point just, we're not going to be staying here. I'm not going to get into detail here on stream because it is not to be shared like that. But there have been too many things at this point that are probably a little inappropriate to even say here on stream that has pushed us out, and we just don't want to be here anymore. So we'll be making our place permanent over there, and honestly, that's going to be better for the business, better for the streams, better for the YouTube, better for our consistency, and we're happy to make the decision. I want to say a big thanks to everybody who has supported us while we've done this sort of back and forth and made things work out here, but it's a lot to take on to come here, and it's really only negatives at this point. So thank you if you've watched the streams, all the way starting back from the farmhouse. If you've supported the streams, if you've been in the Discord, and at any point, if you've been part of the Space Tomato gaming community, you have been part of our ability to make this decision and finally leave this behind. It's not something that we are doing lightly. It is not something that we've wanted to do, but at this point, our hand is forced and we are leaving. So 7 days, folks. That means that there won't be a stream next Friday or Saturday. And likely by Wednesday, most of what you see here will be off the wall and we'll be basically just finishing up our last packing. So what better way to celebrate than to do a little monthly report here with y'all, you lovely, sexy individuals. Because if you like space, you're real sexy. And no, I'm kidding. Don't clip that. That's not. Don't take that out of context. But yeah, we're gonna have some nice streams, some good fun times before that happens, and then we'll be back in America doing more fun times back then. Next week at this point, we'll be 10 hours into our 14-hour flight. Today, we'll be going to Istanbul. Our flight's on the 16th, my moon. But close. Very close. Maverick. Hello. Good to see you first up in chat. Thanks for being here, dude. As always, dropping the toes, gang. I appreciate you, man. Space Marine and Yui. I honestly, I can't even say I'm surprised, guys. You guys are awesome for being here as well. Frisch, good to see you, dude. Baston, welcome in. Van Healy, welcome, my friends. Jormund Wrecker. CJ, 07's buddy. Astro Monkey, welcome. The Mad World of Chaos. Shifty, Bite Smarter, honestly, Nerfly. Matt, Sully, the group. You guys were active on YouTube before we even got started. Love to see it. Astro Monkey. Razor. Welcome in. Y'all going crazy with the XP farming. Yeah, guys. What are you trying to do, huh? Get on YouTube's good books? Reese. Hey, dude. Holding down the mod game over there on YouTube. Thank you. Jolie. Welcome in. Mabutu. Amabutu. What's today about? We're going over the monthly report, man. What happened in July? Ships, features, all the good stuff, all the jazz. This is going to be a fun talk. There's a lot of stuff to go over in this. You catching a stream start probably isn't going to happen a lot anymore, so do not wait for me. Well, Shifty, with our move back to the States, that means our stream time's moving back up to normal times, folks. That means it will be starting about 2 hours after this. I am sorry to throw you for that loop again, but like I said, making this trip causes a whole bunch of difficulties for us, so not having to do it anymore means that the stream will be at a consistent time year-round, you know, not including other things that might happen throughout the year. So hopefully you can make it to the stream starts, Shifty. Don't forget talking about events. Ah, yes, events. Everything's an event. They're all events. It's events all the way down. Hope this move goes more smoothly than the last one. It will. It will, because this is barely a move. We're just taking our stuff with us. Thank you, Mary. We've already got our place back home. Oh, hello. Hey, thank you for the bits, Mr. Maverick, my good friend.
Frisch with the support.
Frisch?
Yes, heck yeah.
What if Frisch?
Right here.
What? Frisch? Whoa!
Heck yeah.
Oh, Frisch threw down a tip to the stream, a tip to the community, to the. Dude, thank you, Frisch. Did that show up on the stream?
Kofi doesn't show up on it because they're.
Oh, that was through Kofi.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It doesn't have because their emblem is too large on the screen, but I'm gonna.
I see. Frisch, my man. I really appreciate you. And also, Colt just dropped 5 memberships, 5 subs over on Twitch. You're good people. Thank you. Zero, oof, like ever. Not to this city. Okay, if we're coming back here, we're gonna come to see family and visit, but it's gonna be just like a few weeks or something, or a couple weeks. Like, we're just gonna come and see the people who want to see us, and then we're gonna go back to the US and get back with our business and stuff. We're no longer doing this whole set up everything here, try to live life for the summer, and we're coming here. We were coming here for family, and I won't go beyond that. But we want to build our own family. We would like little tiny tomatoes at some point. And this is, it ain't happening here. Yeah, world can be pretty nasty, Joe. That it can be. Swifts and deadly. 07s, buddy. Thanks for being here. Sorry you'll lose the time with family. You gotta set your boundaries. That's all I'll say. Lots of love waiting here in the States for you, dude. We are so excited to set up this CitizenCon viewing party. We've got a venue picked out. We're in communication with them. We're just waiting for them to confirm. It's gonna be a good time. I know there are multiple things happening in San Francisco on that day, so anybody who is in the area who can make a drive out, or maybe even a fly out if possible, we would love to host you for that. We'll have a live feed of the show of CitizenCon. We'll be getting as many people together as we can, having the drinks, having a good time, and probably doing a couple like giveaways and stuff. Patches and socks and jerseys and things. And that's because we know we got our family back there. Space fam. We're immigrants taking jobs from hardworking. Hey, that's what I am over here, right? I'm an immigrant taking jobs over here. Work lurking on the tomato for your new SC fix. Happy Rhubarb. Rhubarb. Good to see you, man. We'll be eating turkey in America, as always. Mrs. Tomato Mate's a mean turkey, dude. Keeps it moist. I know moist is a word that needs the right context to be able to be said, but trust me, it's good. It's good stuff. It's good turkey. Brigadier! Hey, dude. Welcome to the chat, my man. Colt, thanks for getting a hype train started over on Twitch. You wouldn't believe it, but I've been on a train before in my life, and not a single one of them is as exciting as a hype train. Except for the one that goes around Donner Lake and towards Lake Tahoe. That is a thank you very much. I love that one. Oh, PK! Hey! PK dropping 10 subs in chat. Like a homie freaking Toes gang over here, dude. Appreciate you, P. The P and the K. What it is, Cryogenics, welcome in. Michael Lee, hello. Shaman. 07's buddy. Hype train, you say. The train has been hyped, dude. I don't know what it is, but Twitch has been absolutely blasting off over the last month. Basically carried the stream in July. You guys are awesome. Much love. Thank you. Thank you very much. CJ, we gifted out subs, bro. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. One of the most exciting things about going back to the States is that we're going to have the Toes Gang board again. I actually really enjoyed writing on that because it's just fun to honor the people and see the names the whole day. We got this. Oh, I know, Maverick. Y'all hold it down. By itself, the word moist does sound a little creepy. You can't use the word moist in a sentence with anybody else's name. That's when things start to go wrong. 4 a.m. stream starts. Yes, Maverick, I'm hoping that you also get a more healthy sleep schedule, man. I feel like you're always awake. Nerfly, you gonna try and make it? Oh, hell yeah, dude. I'd love to meet you in real life. That'd be awesome. Valis is gonna be a conduit for that event, going to get him to walk around with the live feed. Let's just strap a camera to the top of his head. Cosmic, Mr. Cosmic Loki, welcome to the sub club, dude. If you want to, you can join us for the live podcast directly after this show. I'm going to get off the stream. I'm going to jump into the podcast with Mr. Kraken. And we're going to be talking about the new ship, new events, new locations, new additions, new features, and the guides that he makes for these locations that come in. The process of how he makes them. Oh, we're talking Perseus today, dude. Hell yeah, we're talking Perseus today. Joy Pop. Mr. Joy Pop. Sub for 11 months, almost a year. Can we throw you a little Twitch birthday when we hit a year? Goal for the stream, everyone use moist in the same way in every chat post. Guys, we already have enough problems, people thinking that we're weird with the whole toes thing. Do we really want to bring moist into it as well? Ah, what the hell, moist toes. Stare at someone silently for 15 seconds, then say the word moist without breaking the stare. Nobody's gonna let me stare at them for 15 seconds, man. I will get scolded so far before that. Stay away from my children! Never talk to me and my kid again. Maybe we're gonna quick Twitch only special giveaway in this stream, like a gun or armor or something. Honestly, yeah. I don't, not to discriminate, but like, Twitch crowd has been freaking lovely, and we do have stuff to give away. What's the podcast called and where can you listen to it? Space Tomato 2 YouTube channel is where the podcast gets posted, or if you just search for the Launch Sequence podcast. I think at this point we've been doing it long enough that a Google search makes it pop up. But my Google history is probably also, yeah, it's also rather skewed and biased. But you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, over on YouTube. I believe we're also on like Pocket Casts and all of the different places where you can listen to your favorite podcast. Unloading Whale, Mr. Whale. Good to see you today. How you doing? Loving the new Space Tomato 2 intro. Thank you, man. You're the first person to mention it. I freaking love that intro. We were working on that for a while. We commissioned that back in like March, and we were working with our branding folk, Mr. Cass, lovely member of the community, for a few months back and forth on that, and it came together lovely. We were considering giving Space Tomato 2 some clothes to float through space, but then we were like, you know what? It's kind of funny that he's naked. Let's just have him floating through space naked. Found it on Spotify. Cool. Awesome. Spotify is where I listen to the captain's table. Microphone to the face is epic. Yeah, and it's not a euphemism, okay? Staring at someone for a long time and then saying moist is something Astropub would do. And one of his moist capsules. I love Astropub, man. Paul's good times. Moist and naked. There's a winning combo, dude. Yeah, that's how I ended up in jail at 16. No, actually, the only time I got close to ending up in jail was when we got chased across a park, because it was like after dark. Why do police chase you across the park? He literally drove onto the lawn and chased us. We were like 5 kids chilling at the park. It was dark. Oh no. He drove his cruiser up onto the grass and drove after us, chasing us across the park as we ran back to my friend's mom. We got back to his mom and we all turned around and looked, and he was just like, I don't even remember what he said. Oh, don't be in the park. Dude, what's wrong with America, man? Why can't we hang out in the park after dark? Put lights in there. Let people barbecue a little bit. Have a good time. Hang out and eat dinner. It's a park. What are we gonna do? Have a bunch of gay sex out there? Okay, let us do it then. Why you care? Sorry, I just got completely off track. You and Astro have a video about SC dungeons. Is this true? Is it true that there are SC dungeons? I have personally gotten internet scolded for calling them dungeons, but yes, I believe this is about as close as we've gotten to having dungeons in Star Citizen. They're mostly closed off, like sections of the map where you go through and you fight a bunch of NPCs and you get some loot and you progress through a little bit of a storyline. There's no boss battle yet, but it sounds like they're getting there. No park because drugs. Maybe we could work on just like better support for people on drugs or something. instead of chasing kids across parks. YouTube needs to stop forcing watchers into live streams after watching a video. That's weird. I didn't even know they do that. They probably should stop doing that. That doesn't even make sense, YouTube. If they're watching a video, they want to watch more videos, not live streams. Anyways, welcome in, Ambrose. Caught you by surprise. Gotcha. These are dungeons, Razor. It is true that there are SC whatever you want to call them, like co-op thingies. I don't know, man. You gotta be careful what you call things these days. Everything's an event. Imagine if you could raid a ship manufacturer's dungeon and get an empty chassis of a ship that can be finished by the player by adding in all the components and stuff. Would be sick. Almost like if there were like distribution centers owned by manufacturers that you could go raid. Moist dungeons. There we go. Yeah, you guys are on it now. Moist dungeon toes. All right, folks, let's get into this monthly report. This one is looking pretty hot, looking pretty nice. I am excited for the features here, so we're gonna work through it. As we do, we're going to actually skip the ship segment. I'm gonna blue ball you a little bit. We're gonna skip the ship segment, get done with the whole monthly report, and then we're gonna return back to the ship segment and go through it with our lovely ship tracking sheet, updating as we go, and figuring when these ships might release and what's coming next. Skip the ships? Never. Yeah, I know, it's like a death sentence around these parts. Moist Dungeon sounds like a Skyrim mod. Moist Dungeon sounds like a place I just don't want to ever visit. It also though does sound like a very common place for video games. Constantly you're in like a dungeon or a jail cell and there's always some kind of dripping water somewhere. Feeling extra moist. All right, enough of that. Let's get into it. The July monthly report is here and it's looking real good. As I said, we got some nice ship news. We got some, we're not even going over ships in this segment. We got hacking, looting, quantum travel, flight model, radar and FPS, radar, other types of core gameplay. They even talk about the inventory. I'm quite pleased with this monthly report just from skimming it, but this is my first full read through with you guys, so we will hit some surprises. I'll try to bring in some extra context and videos when it works. Otherwise, we'll just be getting distracted here and there. Live stream, thanks for being with me, chat. Y'all keep it real. Thank you for the hype train, by the way, over there, Twitch. You guys are lovely. Freaking already passed the goal for today. Let's do a Twitch giveaway. I like them. These are good folks. Y'all deserve a package of hot chocolate sent to your house.
It's going to be an enter giveaway on Twitch.
Okay.
And for the duration of the giveaway, I'm gonna have to turn off the other ones.
Okay. Can we dampen the moist talk? Oh, God. I love it. Okay. Starting off with AI content here. July saw the AI content team continue the ongoing initiatives mentioned in recent monthly reports, including the push on new combatant wildline sets, which will be completed following some integration work. The team also revisited shop behaviors to look for new opportunities to make the population feel more interactive. For example, leveraging the recent behavior found in medical... For example, leveraging the recent behavior found in medical stations, where NPCs voice their concerns about the regen crisis to add even more lore and flavor in. Okay, so people at shops are going to start actually saying stuff to us instead of... Why does no one ever put stuff back where they took it from? Shut up, man. That guy is so annoying. He just stands behind the counter the whole time and bitches about how dirty his own shop is. That's your job, sir. I worked retail, I know. AI Tech also planned for several of their upcoming releases, outlining the required work and highlighting potential obstacles they will need support to overcome in order to deliver the intended experience. Alongside this, the team continued to support the mission and design teams in implementing additional comms calls into the game. Between the mission giver comms calls that are going on, which I've already got I've got opinions about the possibility that they're gonna relegate mission givers to just being a voice on the screen. I really hope that's not just how it's gonna be, but what we have seen this year, bringing in the voice comms, bringing in the NPC wild lines, having people actually have conversations. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm definitely noticing higher levels of NPC populations in city locations. The game's starting to actually feel more alive. And that's not quite the most important part of playability, but I mean, if you take any game that you love and you strip out the NPCs and their conversations and the things that they're saying, it's so much worse when you do that. It feels so empty and abandoned and like just this empty. It feels like Sears, like walking into a Sears nowadays. No offense to Sears, all right? We'll still take a sponsorship if you guys want to work together. I love the fridges you sell, but it's just kind of not happening anymore. And I appreciate that the NPCs are starting to actually be more interactive in the game. Physical mission givers need instancing. Yeah, probably. You haven't noticed any more NPCs than normal? It might have been a PTU thing. And maybe it doesn't make it to live. But like when I respawned this last time and we went through the hospital, I was like actually blown away by how many people were in there. The reason Sears is empty is because they are closed. Doesn't mean we can't do a sponsored stream, dude. AI features. In July, the AI features team continued to develop new creatures, including prototype gameplay for a boss fight. As part of this, new tech was created that makes this process faster and more iterative, providing a better toolkit for the designers by compartmentalizing behaviors and making them data-driven. In July, the AI features team continued to develop new features, including prototype gameplay for a boss fight. So this is not talking about the gigantic worm boy. Maybe it's talking about the Apex Valakar, but this could also be talking about the boss fight that they reportedly and rumorly have prepared for the third wing of these locations that they're putting in 4.3. They are going to have some form of possible monster and or creature-ish kind of thing able to be fought, I think, as a boss fight. So there's that sort of ultimatum of the actual dungeons that we're talking about. I'm wondering how scalable it'll be. Like, what kind of boss is it? And can you replicate that across different models and stuff? For human combat, the team fixed numerous... That's a funny sentence. The team fixed numerous smaller bugs and issues. They also added various Polish features. They're adding Polish features to Star Citizen now. I thought we were all everybody was British. Including close-range shove attacks that allows the AI to respond rapidly to the player or other NPCs getting too close. Little pushback. Well, those little pushbacks. I remember when they were giving me that in UFC. Or no, not UFC. What was it? What was that boxing game? The one where you would fight all the great boxers. You'd start out in like a small garage, and then you'd work your way up to a big garage. And then you'd have like huge historical people like Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali coming and fighting you in this random garage. And you'd beat them. Fight Club. Fight Night? Fight Night. Fight Night 2009, man. I was real good at just shoving people away because I didn't know what else to do. I was just button mashing. AI features then continued to tweak, refine, and bug fix perception and investigation when used by group behaviors. Group perception time is now used to determine how long a target has been out of range rather than the individuals. That makes sense. People talk to each other. The time before they time out, go into investigation, and return to idle was reduced too. So they'll just give up on us faster? That gives me Splinter Cell vibes. I would just disappear for 2 minutes and they'd suddenly think that the place was completely clear and their friends did not just die. Progress was also made on the AI weapon interface and dynamic condition weapons. For example, when weapons change from rapid fire to single fire when overheating. I don't actually know if I have any much stuff on this. But it makes sense if we have a bunch of different weapons and things that are coming into the game and they actually... Hold on a second, sorry. Looking at the wrong folder. If we have a bunch of weapons and stuff coming in and they actually overheat, then the NPC should be able to handle that. It's so funny to read these things and have... Like, as we're going through this, we have actual reasons to understand why this stuff is getting worked on because we can see it in the game. Whereas in years past, I'd go through the AI, the different AI sections, and we're just kind of talking about, like, the things that, yes, we may have seen in some of their demonstrations in CitizenCon, but it was really hard to know if it was actually going into the game or not. This stuff makes sense to go into the game sometime soon. The team also prototyped tech for AI bounding Overwatch, which relates to NPCs coordinating to traverse cover when moving to an area. This required changes to the TPS system to enable AI to find cover positions near paths. Cool. AI game intelligence development team. In July, the game intelligence development team continued to work on the prototype for mission system V2. This involved moving node states in the graph and reflecting them in copy, paste, and undo. The streaming profiler was also elaborated on. The entity component update scheduler is a core system that determines what's in range and provides the fundamental proximity information for all streaming decisions. Furthermore, visual prototypes were developed for the density profiler, which pre-visualizes large scenes when there are too many entities. It includes... Y'all hear Dora back there? She's staying with us for the next week until we leave. It includes a choice of pixel level and or volume level to quickly identify problematic areas. The team also continued to fix various small bugs and worked on feature requested and suggested by the game designers to improve StarScript. StarScript? You know, it's been a little while since we've done this. I used to do this every single stream, and by golly gee willikers, I bet people were getting real annoyed with it. The heck was the name of it? Oh my gosh, I'm so lost. I don't even remember what it was called anymore. I'm terrible. I'm an awful person. Let's see if I can find it. So, StarScript is a new version of the system that they've been using to control AI logic, to control mission logic, to... Wasn't it Apollo? Apollo Subsumption Editor? All I know is that if you look for Subsumption, you'll find it. Little ugly little spaghetti flow graph. But this is like a gigantic if-then. Yeah, Maverick's got it. And what they can do here is they can plug in tasks and actions and things that happen when something else happens. And then an NPC will just go through the flowchart. But you can do the same thing with missions. I don't know if I have... Ooh, let's see. Let us see.
The guy I was talking about was the custodian, the brimstone.
The custodian SMG? Guys, does the custodian SMG look like a Honda Civic?
It does to me.
Okay.
It looks like a Honda Civic.
Alright, girl. If that's what it is, that's what it is. Shoot your Honda Civic. Looks like we're gonna give away a custodian. Not like, you know, it's not a hold on. What was the name of it? Custodian Honda Civic model. That looks right. We're giving away this guy. He's like, yeah. There he is. Custodian Brimstone. Let's try that instead. Does this look like a Honda Civic? I mean, you know, it's got all the flanges and stuff going on. Apparently, this is the Astro Historian's favorite gun. I was just listening to the captain's table, and I did not know. I didn't know anybody liked this gun.
This one. It looks like it.
Let me see. This is the model that she's talking about. Hold on, let me pull this up. Does it look like this?
It does. That one.
Yeah. I mean, they're both red.
The same.
Yeah, they're exactly the same. If anything, I think that Civic should be taken off the streets because it looks like a weapon. Shame on them. So yeah, thank you to Twitch. We do really appreciate the support. You guys have been absolutely phenomenal, and this will be a giveaway for you. When it goes live, you'll be able to enter it just by hitting enter in the chat. When it goes live. Not yet. All right. Back to this guy. I'm sorry for putting you on blast, dude. You got a great smile. Back to the Subsumption. There is a segment that we've seen recently where Elliot was going over the mission editor that they've built now with Jared. So this is kind of the new version of it. Obviously, it's not as like janky looking. It's a little more refined. That's what 4 years difference will do for you. You can see this is version 1.092, but this was 2 years ago. So they've probably made a decent amount of time since then, more progress. Generally, though, this is how they handle their mission logic. Now, any of you who are game devs in the chat for other companies, I would really be interested in hearing if you have your own version of this, or if maybe you've used a different game engine, Unity, Unreal, whatever they might be. Whatever that one is that they used for... I know Rage is another one. What is the engine that they used for Death Stranding? It's the... I think it's the same one they used for Horizon Zero Dawn. Decima. Yes. Except that one's like really expensive to use. Unity and Unreal is basically the ones most people get to try out in their living rooms. Shaman, you like the Custodian too? It's compact, 60 rounds, quick to aim. I don't know what it is about it. I just don't like. Blender uses something similar? Okay. So it's that kind of way of doing in-game mission logic is not that out there. Well, there you go. All right, let's move on to AI Tech team. AI Tech generally is working on stuff before passing it to AI features or content, who then puts it into the game. So they have some more interesting, maybe more abstract kind of stuff going on. AI Tech began the month improving navigation. For example, they fixed island connections for the planetary navigation mesh and made link improvements to navigation types and metrics. Flags can now be added to navigation cost areas to prevent NPCs from stopping within them, while updates to the tactical point system prevent points from generating in areas where NPCs are not allowed to stop. Ooh, yeah, we've got some video examples of this. It was not too long ago that they were testing out how AI would navigate hazard areas. And what they would do is they would give AI a specific amount of points that they could go through. They use the same system for when AI are engaging with you and shooting at you in a firefight. They'll basically say every AI has a certain amount of points that they can expend by shooting bullets. If they've run out of points, then they'll take cover. If they have an excess of points, then maybe they will use more and be a little bit more, out there with trying to kill you and ruin you. This was also something that was used within groups. So if AI were engaging you as a group of people, then you wouldn't get overwhelmed by all of them trying to shoot you so hard. So hard? Sorry, that was a little sexual. By trying to shoot you so much, they would basically, if there were 10 points and you had 4 NPCs, 2 of those NPCs could use all of the points, while the other... How many NPCs did I say? 2. The other 2 NPCs would stand by because they couldn't also shoot at you. This is a way of basically making sure that a certain scenario or a certain room doesn't overwhelm you, because there's just a group of AI in there that can always always attack you. It reminds me of Assassin's Creed. How you would get surrounded by like 6 different people, but they would all kind of just take turns attacking you. Like, okay, take your time. Go ahead and parry that. I'll give you a moment. Which is nice, but it can look a little awkward sometimes. So here is the idea of using it in a environment where you actually have to avoid things. And you can see here, they have the 0 point sections, which are in the blue, and they have the red point sections, which are in the green. These are hazards. So the AI is going to naturally not want to go into the red to the 1 point sections because they don't want to rack up their point count. They want to be able to keep as many points as possible. And this is a way that they can make sure AI don't go into certain areas, which I think is what we're already seeing in, well, probably most locations that we go to. But specifically in these new underground facilities in 4.3, you can tell that NPCs don't want to go to certain places, whereas they will also follow you into other places. Like, you can definitely find rooms in these new locations where you'll be safe to heal up, do some looting, gather yourself before moving on. And that, again, that's pretty standard in games, to be honest. This is just a look at the back end of that and how that is made to happen. Looks like the giveaway is live over on Twitch. ! Enter will get you an entry into it. And apparently ! Enter ticket does not work. Look at Maverick over here though, using too many tickets. Oh, I guess you can also use ! Ticket. Don't use so many tickets, man. Don't forget, we still have the Meteor giveaway going on. Y'all on YouTube, this one might not be running over there, but you can still enter the RSI Meteor giveaway. ! Giveaway will make it pop up. But only once, don't spam it. Just click the link after that. Attack Cat, 07s. Good to see you. All right. For ship AI, updates were made to various movement blocks following the addition of new features, while a new flight movement request type was implemented to blend ship movement to splines. Optimizations were also made to the vision components, such as preventing lock contention from submitting or canceling raycasts. Dude, I hate lock contentions. They always mess them with my raycasts on a Saturday night. For tools, the team added support for dragging and dropping multiple items into StarScript's outline view. They also added display platforms and layer names as part of the variable type in outline view, and made improvements to the conversations view. New functionality was also added to the flow graph to let designers mark which subsumption global function Subsumption, what's your global function? Oh god, I missed that. Remember when we used to learn about government that way? Now the government doesn't work that way. It lets designers mark which subsumption global function behaviors are allowed to be used in scripting logic. For the usable builder, I'm gonna close the door real quick, guys. That fan's gonna be a little bit louder now. The Subsumption song. Yeah, dude, maybe we should make a Schoolhouse Rock. Schoolhouse Rock? Was that the movie with Jack Black, or am I getting that right? What was the Schoolhouse Rock? Wasn't that the show? Yeah, Schoolhouse Rock. We should make one of these, but for Star Citizen. Dude, what is this? Was there a TV show for Schoolhouse Rock? Final episode aired on 2009. What? I didn't know they were still going in 2009. Honestly, I thought this was just coming out on DVDs. The Jack Black one was School of Rock, yes. Close enough. School and Rock. I'm just a bell. I'm only a bell. All right. For the user builder, support was added for helper geometry and for selecting a usable channel for testing rather than an Usable setup changes are now directly applied to the entity without needing to reload the tool too. Finally, for UI tech, fixes were made for various small issues, such as the name alignment slot not displaying properly. attached entities snapping to the wrong locations, and helpers not validating properly. To be quite honest, I don't know just about anything that we just read in this section. AI tech and game intelligence development team, these folks are really focused on creating the tech that drives the game so that the designers and the mission creators and the feature folks can then use that tech to make the features and content that we actually experience. So it's a little harder to get this stuff because it's a little bit more abstract, but hey, you know, we're here for it. Dude, that song was great. The fact that I can still remember it, granted it's just the one line of the song I can remember, but it's been what, like 50 something years since I heard that the first time. That's good. That's a good track record. Yeah, I do a lot for my skin. That's accurate. Animation. Animation team usually has something interesting going on. Last month, the team progressed with a new ship enter and exit template animation alongside pickups for bespoke. Everybody take a drink. Gameplay features for an upcoming PU release. A new ship enter and exit template animation. Way back in the day, back when we were still kind of... Dude, I wonder if I even have footage from back then. Let's see. This would be like 2018 kind of time. 2019. You know what? I don't even need to do that. We could just go back in their YouTube channel. We scroll. Isn't it kind of crazy that we're like as far away from 2018 in this direction as the beginning of Star Citizen was? Like, think about that for a second. The time that it's been since we saw 3.0 drop is actually longer than it was since from the beginning of the project to 3.0. Holy, oh my, it's been so f***ing long. That's wild. But if you come back here to the like pre 3.0 deep dives and stuff that they were doing, you'll definitely find segments where they talk specifically about wanting to speed up the animation getting in and out of ships. I think this could be rumor. I could be making this, could be a figment of my freaking imagination. But I feel like I remember them saying that they wanted to make it so that when you got into your ship, if you like press the button to get into your ship, you would go at the normal speed and it might be a little bit slow. But if you needed to rush the animation and get into the ship fast for whatever reason, you could just hold the button down and it would speed up. It would go at a faster rate. But that was way back here. Like, there's just no way that I would be able to find it. It was back in this time when they would like talk about the way that they were building the ships, and this actually is a pretty interesting video because it talks about the whole gray box to flight ready process. But it was definitely back in the day when we were seeing all of the old game graphic stuff. Because let's be honest, this game used to look mighty different from what it is now. Tomato was named Tomato for a reason. He is a vampire. He lived since the beginning of the Star Citizen development in 1800. Yeah, what is Anno 1800? It's really Star Citizen 1800. Do you moisturize? It's the sunscreen, man. You remember being 22 years old reading about Star Citizen in PC Gamer magazine? Dude, remember when they had a magazine? You know who's coming back magazine-wise? I think, who is it? Not Eurogamer magazine. Is it Eurogamer? Somebody's coming back. They just announced it earlier this year. It's one of the classics. Game Informer. Yeah, Astro Monkey got it. Dude, chat, you guys always got it. Holding it down. Yo, thanks for starting that combo on Twitch. I have no idea what that means, but I appreciate you. Yeah, Game Informer magazine coming back. How cool is that? Also, in the same vein, did you guys hear that Digital Foundry is going independent? I didn't even freaking know that they were owned by a company until maybe like late last year. And then there were people who were saying, "Oh, we can't trust Digital Foundry. They're owned by the bigs, by big games. They do the you know, the classic." And I'm really glad that they got to buy themselves out and become independent and not have to deal with that kind of baggage. Good for them. Neither did you, Colt. Looks like you achieved level 0, so good job. Excitement discovered. People do love to hate IGN. People love to hate IGN. Datamation. I don't remember Datamation. I read a whole bunch of Xbox Magazine, Game Informer. Honestly, mostly those two. They got that one dude that's an SC lover, Alex. Yeah, I think Alex is a. I don't know if I would say he loves it. He's certainly a fan, but I think I think all of them. No, Alex is definitely more enthusiastic. I get that they are all a little hesitant about it in general, but no, you're right. Alex is definitely more a fan of it than the other two. 3? How many people are on that team? He loves it. Okay. IGN does tend to invite a fair amount of that hate. Yeah, I feel like I've come across sometimes when they've made mistakes before. Yeah, I watched Digital Foundry. They do good stuff, man. I mean, like, they're basically the standard for video benchmarking, right? Performance analysis in games. All right, continuing on with animation. The facial animation team processed content from June's performance capture shoot, including several new mission givers and a mini boss. They then worked alongside narrative to create and finalize animations for various TV broadcast characters that will populate the verse, including James Harriman. So they're working hard with the narrative team. And narrative's also working pretty hard on introducing a lot of stuff to the game. One of the things that I am appreciating is how consistently they are going through, let's see. They're going through their 1.0 panels. So we just saw Hawkrow Agency come in with 4.3. This is a new faction filling out the Mercenary Guild. Foxwell Enforcement got kind of a big boost at the beginning of this year. So they're starting to show up a lot more in the game. Obviously, we know Citizens for Prosperity from the 4.0 stuff. North Rock was already in the game. And Eckhart Security is getting some updates too, with some pyro missions and some stuff linked to the underground facilities. And then moving back, we also see High Point Wilderness Specialists. They've started to give out a couple of missions here and there in the game. Rayari Inc. has also started to file in. ICC is what we're really excited for. It's going to be interesting. Thank you. It's going to be interesting to see what ICC does, because I think they're giving the missions that people really see as exploration in this game. Moving on, none of these are really, they haven't really gotten to the Sports Federation yet, which I think if they did, people would be like, why are you doing sports? But we also see Ling Family, Red Wind, Covalix is in there, but I don't know if they give out missions yet. I appreciate that, like, at the very least, the stuff they're doing isn't disconnected from the plans that they've set out. A lot of times you would see stuff in CitizenCon and then it just wouldn't be touched on for quite a while. I'm glad that the things that they're bringing into the game actually are seemingly moving them towards Star Citizen 1.0, even if it is just some names on a page and some factions. It's nice. And bringing in some TV broadcast characters, it's more so just giving more life to the game. You know, it's the anti-Sears metric. We should have an inverse Sears graph to understand just how well CIG is doing at improving the liveliness of this game. Because unfortunately, Sears is not very lively these days. Alex was waiting for the game to be truly stable so he could do another cover. He did like, what, 3 videos at one point? 2 or 3 videos over the course of a couple of months. And then he's just basically been updating the other guys on stuff every now and then to tell them what's been going on. GTD, my man. What's going on, Broheen? U.S. Army Infantryman here, ×2 tour. Shout out to your brother. Hello, my friend. Good to see you. I hope you're home and calm right now and not on tour. Getting to relax a little bit. R&R and all that jazz. Thanks for dropping by the stream, man. Talking about old gaming mags makes me miss the show Screensavers that became Attack of the Show. Missed that show. Dude, Attack of the Show was like my favorite show for a little while. Loved that one. What were their names? Morgan Freeman? No. Morgan Hill and Jack, Alex, James, Jace, something. Man, I do not remember what the names of the people were, but Attack of the Show was great times. G4 TV was just awesome. The emergency exit or entry video you were talking about was narrated by Steve Bender. Adnan, how the heck do you know that, man? That's incredible memory. Attack of the Show is Olivia Munn. Ah, that's right. Yeah. X-Play was Morgan Webb. Morgan Webb, that was the name. But didn't they had a co-host? What was the other guy's name? "5 years ago, recently he promised to do a walkthrough of SC for one of his colleagues, but that day never came because Vulcan is too unstable." Yeah, that's fair, yeah. Adam Sandler. No, not just Adam Sessler. I do remember him. Adam Sessler was there. Morgan Webb was there. Kevin? Was there a Kevin? Is that what I'm thinking of? X-Play. Was it? Am I imagining another person into the show? There's always a Kevin. Can't get away from the Kevins. Let's see, Attack of the Show starring... Yeah, Kevin Pereira. He was the #1 on there. How you guys forget this guy? He was the first freaking... Yeah, I remember this dude. Years active, 2002 to present. Kevin Pereira. Yeah, that guy was fun. Kevin Pereira, Olivia Munn, Adam Sessler, and Morgan Webb. I feel like those are the ones that I remembered most. I don't think I saw Chris Hardwick, really. But, yeah, who are all these other people, man? I didn't know all these other people were involved in this. Who are you people? Wait, I think I remember her. God, that was a big show. I had no idea. That show was more than half your life ago. Yeah, it's been a cool minute. Your old backer, man. Bro. That's wild, man. I'm guessing it was around the verse that he talked about him. You met Sessler at GDC one year. Dude was hammered, but really nice. Good. Good to be nice while you're hammered. All right, let's continue on. Art on the character side, good times. The character art spent the month creating new armors and armor variants. Meanwhile, the concept art team prepared handoff sheets and began the exploration phase of new flight suits alongside requests from other teams. Let us jump back to another CitizenCon video here real quick and look at the armors that they have brought in versus the ones that they have not. What are we still missing from last year? And what could they still bring us in the rest of this year? So we already know that suit very well. Don't know about this one. Clothing, we've got this suit. And then they started telling us about like combining clothes with armor, which we still don't have. We've received this armor. We just got this one. This is the armor that we get for the resource drive, right? Good thing, good thing. They got that one in just now. Moving forward. The pilot. All right, so we got this racing suit. This one came into the game earlier this year. This is the flight suit. We also got that, I think, earlier this year. This is just the combat flight suit. I'm not a huge fan of it because it is like armor, but it's an undersuit. Either give me the armor or give me the undersuit. It'd be nice if you could just put the actual armor for that on top of another flight suit, but I guess they're not ready for that yet. Why does this look like he has fingers coming down the side of his chest? Anyways, this is the racing suit. We also got that. Continuing on, we've got the tank. We got this armor, right? This came into the game earlier this year. Of course, nobody noticed Kevin with Olivia on the street. Kevin had the jokes. Kevin was funny, man. He was a good guy. Well, I don't know if he was a good guy, but he was fun to watch. Gray Fox, how you doing? Love your stuff. Listen to you at work every day. Can't wait for the Perseus cheers. Dude, I'm glad to join you at work. Does that count as me going into work too? JK, I love my work. No, we don't have this armor in? Okay. So we're missing the tank. Does it give me a face like this? Look at that. Look at them. Look at them teeth. Thank you. Thank you very much. Unloading whale. Thank you, my man. Thanks for having yourself a 13 months of membership supporting on YouTube. I appreciate you. You get a membership. You get a membership. Everyone gets a membership. You rock. Much love to my friend. Oh, shit. He dropped a $5. He dropped 5 memberships, dude. Unloading whale. Literally setting the record on YouTube for the month. Thank you, my dude. I appreciate you. Thanks for your support. Hey, Tiny Home got a membership. I freaking missed that guy. The bestest of jokes. The best jokes you could find on YouTube. All right, so the tank is not here yet. It's supposed to have great damage coverage, strong resilience, no flinching and staggering, no EVA mobility. And that's it. See, this is the thing about armors that we're not even into yet. How many people are going to start complaining when they find out that armors might not have EVA capability and you'd have to use 0G push and pull? I imagine they won't put that in until 0G push and pull is in. Again, showing how all the features are intertwined and delaying each other. But people really hate deterrence when it comes to delivering these kinds of things in game. All right, the tracker. Heavy hunter armor. Now, we definitely got this armor. I know because I wear these goofy looking shoulders every once in a while. Most powerful active scan for locating their targets. So you got good scanning, good radar, which we're going to talk about in a little bit here as features coming into the game. Protection, stability, compromise for greater mobility. No stealth. Look at that, 0 stealth. Don't fart in this suit. They'll know where you are. Protection is high. Active scan is high. G-force EVA mobility fairly low, but still possible. And then we got, who are you? Oh, medical suit guy. But I just saw something, here we go, the sniper. So this is Geist armor. This is coming in with 4.3. And this is likely, they spent the month creating new armors and armor variants. This is likely one of these that they're talking about they worked on here in July. Undetectable from active scans, so very stealthy. That's huge. That right there is crazy big. Because people have a big problem with the idea of an active scan using FPS, calling it wall hacks, saying it's going to break the game. If you're wearing a suit of armor that literally cannot be spotted by a scanner, that's got to be pretty powerful. Lightweight suit allows wearer heavy mobility, high mobility. So we got high stealth, pretty heavy mobility, low EVA mobility, low active scan potential. So this is really about just staying undetected. Not always popular, but friction and hard choices are what make these games really stick to us. Dude, all of the games I've ever played that I really remember had things in them that I was like, okay, I gotta remember to stay away from that. Like the mechanics of Shadow of Mordor, how these people would grow a grudge for you and hunt you down and find you. At first it annoyed me, but over time I was like, this is incredibly cool. I loved the way it made it feel like I was living in the game and it didn't just all reset every time I died. Yeah, it was a bit of a deterrent and it taught me how I needed to be better about like finishing people instead of just damaging them. It's kind of the point. It's like people play survival games for a reason. Can't wait for all that to be actually in game. Right. So they're delivering the armors, but clearly they are not having these stats that they're talking about. I do think that it is telling that all of the armors they actually showed at CitizenCon are getting into the game. Again, that's not the kind of thing they used to do. They'd show us some, I mean, think about the cloth deck stuff, you know? How long has it taken for us to get cloth tech? Or think about the modular bag system that we saw at CitizenCon 2023. Nowhere to be seen. They haven't even talked about that yet. They haven't even advertised that to us. And I imagine that these armors that they're putting into the game actually do have some level of back-end support for these stats that they're bringing up. We could see that when they brought in that tracker armor, people were able to kind of take off the helmet and they could still use the scanning functionality and see the scanning interface, which might tell us that at least in their company, within their own development branch, they might be experimenting with that stuff with these armors. We just don't know because they're not releasing the features. Hell, they're not even telling us about the features. But yeah, I can't wait for it to be in game. Actual consequences and deterrents. Who would have thought? Unfortunately, that mechanic is locked behind copyrights and gone forever. Yeah. And who was that? Warner Bros. That did that? Really annoying. They usually do visual shit kind of quick. At least Turbulent. Yeah, but Turbulent's only really been involved with this kind of stuff for the last couple years. Before that, they were just kind of relegated to the background, working on the website and Spectrum and stuff. Now, they're actually putting stuff in game after they go over it. Which is a step up for them, in my opinion. All right, skipping on the ship section. We're going to come back to that. Like I said, we've got our whole ship sheet to go over. Ship sheet. Moist ship sheet. I remember when Star Citizen was talking about having some kind of that sort of rival mechanic. What did they call it? Not rival. Nemesis mechanic. And that was kind of what they wanted to do with virtual AI and the whole bounty hunting thing and people remembering you. And I'm guessing that's just not going to happen. They're not going to do that. Just going to set myself up to not be disappointed if they don't and pleasantly surprised if they do. Moving on to core gameplay. This is the actual best part of the monthly report. And thank God this month we've got a good one, because last month, if I'm not mistaken, it was freaking tiny. Tinier than my patience for another event. They're all events. Yeah, look at the freaking game, the core gameplay part last month. One part of it was about Stormbreaker, the other part of it was about the Apex Valakar and the Ikti, and the other part was about performance updates. I was miserable. This month, though, we're starting out with core gameplay team focusing on freight elevators. Let's hear it, folks. Get it! Woo! PvE gameplay. Freight elevators. Providing fixes for critical issues raised during the resource drive event, while also improving the debugging tools alongside the QA team. This will ensure that future issues can be triaged faster with more initial information for investigation. Doesn't necessarily mean that freight elevators are getting fixed. They're just getting worked on. I genuinely think that they can't, like, by 4.4, they need to just get these things functional, like properly functional. Freight elevators can't be this broken anymore. This was it. This was the big moment. They overloaded freight elevators. They made everybody aware of how broken they are. Now let's fix them. Let's get them into a place where they actually work. Is it still broken in 4.3? I don't know, but I highly doubt they got all problems with them fixed in one update. I think, if anything, it's going to take months of work to get them fixed. Yeah, but don't take my word for it. In 4.3, I've just been in the underground facilities the whole time. Or maybe going back to animation, they did mention that they wanted to include several new mission givers and a mini boss. Could the mini boss be the freight elevators? Did we just connect the dots?
Player versus elevators gameplay is the reason we are all here.
Exactly. That's all we want. I just want a PvE dungeon, all right? Close me off, put me in a room, no NPCs, no other players, just me and some elevators. Fight. Oh, that's yummy. Okay. Work was also done alongside online technology on contract generation and how missions utilize locations, both in terms of finding and reserving to prevent them from becoming overrun. Immediate fixes were implemented and several future improvements were planned. This is, I think, what they were talking about for 4.3. Just allowing missions to be found and reserved differently based on player location and stuff. But it does sound like plenty of people are still being routed to the same places. So I'm not sure if... I just don't know if this is actually having a huge effect on 4.3. It does sound like they're having immediate fixes brought in, which is probably what we're seeing in 4.3. But they're also bringing in some other stuff later, which is good. Core gameplay also improved the spawning flow to allow for another attempt of players spawning directly into their personal hangars instead of their home location hab. This work also paves the way for allowing players to spawn where they were within reason. Okay. That's a big sentence. That takes us back to a statement that was made about a year and 4 months ago, I want to say. Here? Spawning. Spawning.
We've seen a hot take about bed logging not fitting the vision of what Star Citizen is going to be. Care to elaborate on what you're thinking about doing with bed logging and how logging in and out will look in the future?
This kind of triggered me, not gonna lie.
Change to bed logging? Did I miss something?
I'm not sure what that hot take is, but we're definitely in favor of bed logging. In fact, in the future, we plan to give the player buffs for getting a good night's sleep in bed, and have that be part of the game loop. But we don't want to limit the player to that. It's like having a bed shouldn't be a requirement to log out of the game.
Okay, that right there, that's a change from like a lot of the communication over the years, but we'll keep going.
In fact, in the future, we want, no matter where you log out, that's where you log back in. You have all the same missions, like we want your place in the universe to be persistent no matter where you log out. So,
and that is where this statement comes from. This work also paves the way for allowing players to spawn where they were within reason. Within reason's carrying some weight there. We don't know quite what that means, but the idea that they're now in this place where they're like, yeah, we want you to just be able to log out and log in anywhere, is only starting with the hangars. For a lot of people, that's great. That's a good news. People want to be able to log out and log in anywhere. Many folks think that the game doesn't respect their time because they have to log in a space station or in their ship or something. I personally kind of liked that idea. And I wonder how they're going to handle the idea of people logging out and logging in anywhere. Maybe they'll leave a physical representation of you when you do log out, so you can't just log back in and surprise people. But clearly that is the direction that this game is going in, and this kind of confirms it, that they're only paving the way right now for allowing people to log in wherever that was that they were. Limiting logging is a big deal. It makes the world feel more real. I don't understand why they didn't just continue to limit it to bed logging and let us carry a bed. Because then you could just log out anywhere, but you would still have to be able to you'd still have to make some kind of safe space for you. Or at the very least, people would have to know that you logged out there. I don't know. I'm not really sure what they're going for there, but they have signaled and communicated to us multiple times now that they are going to let us log in and log out wherever we want within reason. Whose reason? Whose reason is it? Core gameplay began technical work towards refreshing parts of the inventory and continuing bug fixing for freight elevators. They just want to stick in another thing about freight elevators here. For crafting, oh boy, there's the C word. And no, I don't mean, what's another C word people are excited for? Moist. For crafting, the team continued reevaluating the scope of the first public release, while the Okay. So they're going to do the same thing with crafting that they're going to do with engineering, which we'll get to in a bit. Reevaluated the scope for the first public release. That tells us just about nothing. I wonder what it's going to look like. Rest assured, if they're still reevaluating the scope of the first public release, that means the public release is probably nowhere near close to coming out. Which does fall in line with some of the rumors I've been hearing that we were going to get base building before we get crafting. But I don't even know if we're going to see base building talked about here, so that could be completely off too. Who knows? It's 2025. We are so wildly trying to figure stuff out for ourselves. Only because of this global event did they start taking feedback about it. The freight elevators would upset you in this monthly report regarding about the freight elevators that we have sent them hundreds of IC reports about the issues with them for nearly a year. Oh, I see. Only because of this global event did they start taking feedback about it. I don't know. Maybe they were taking feedback about it before, but they just it's a little harder to understand who's working on what. Back in the day, what you could do is there was no core gameplay team. There was just the EU features team. There was the NA features team. There was the sandbox gameplay team. And you could come to this progress tracker and you could scroll down this list of all the different teams that are working on the game. So let's say they mentioned that the oh boy, the vehicle features team was working on scanning and radar. You can come down here and you could actually click on scanning and radar. And you could see, okay, they've got one person working on the design and it's scheduled for 7 weeks of work. And that's where they did it. It was incredibly inaccurate because it didn't get updated all the time. But you could still at least understand who was working on it and if they were actually had some visibility of it. Like here, master modes. We could see that engineering and design was having some amount of time working on this leading up until well before the 3.23 dropped, to be quite honest. But now all we have is the core gameplay team, which is everything, all features. And that makes it really hard to understand who is working on what or when anybody is working on it. Like base building here says as one developer working on this for 88 weeks. Is that accurate? I don't know. But even then, we don't really know where that development, that the developer comes from. And it could be the case that like, maybe the freight elevators were seeing some progress or some kind of focus from one of the other teams, one of the EU gameplay team or something like that. And then they took time off and then the NA gameplay team picked it up or the sandbox team picked it up or something like that. And that might show up in the monthly report, but now it's all under core gameplay. And it's a little bit less specific. Bro's such a roadmap watcher. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. Proud to be making noise since 2019. We still don't have a whiff of engineering. Crafting is way off. Ah, we do have a whiff though. We get a whiff here. It's our whiff. It's just... Actually, I think our whiff was probably the Arena Commander stuff, which I'm going to be honest, I did not give a lot of feedback on. I didn't spend a lot of time doing the Arena Commander engineering stuff. I'm glad that it sounds like they got feedback from that, but I was not part of that feedback to a high extent like I should have been. Could also mean it's pretty far along in a lot of ways, so they got to decide what to drop first. Hustle Bones. Look at you. Getting that hopium rolling, that engine. Ecto Benet, good to see you in chat, my friend Holston Coop. You get one air horn, buddy. Because honestly, just good old family love. Holston Coop is a classic around these parts. Thank you so much for the membership, dude, and thank you for dropping the sub on Twitch. What did I say? Holston Coop's a classic. Motherfucker's 58 months in on the sub. Oh, much love to you, man. I hope you're doing well. Hope America's treating you as it should be. Why was your membership gone? I don't know. Honestly, that's interesting that you ask that. That's literally the first time somebody has said something about that. But the YouTube channel has lost so many memberships over the last month or two. I thought that maybe I was just being too negative. No, I don't know why you lost that membership. And it's an interesting point. I wonder if YouTube was like, if something's been happening where YouTube's just ending memberships for some reason. Either way, man, thank you. I'll remember the 57 months, dude. You've always been here. Much love to you. Engineering is closer than we think. Closer than we think, y'all. I could find you that quote. I could find you that spot. I'll find it when we get to the engineering part. Bro, I'm always hopeful. Always, what you mean? I'm literally CR's biggest fan. Oh god, you know what I hate about following and covering Star Citizen is that there's a certain group of people online that if you say anything about Star Citizen, they replace any dev name, any feature, any criticism, any praise with Chris Roberts' name. You could be like, "Ah, it's so annoying that these freight elevators don't go up and down," and somebody will come in and be like, "What do you mean Chris Roberts should go to prison and die?" Bro, what? I just meant like the game's broken. Or like I made a whole video about the Planet Tech. I think I mentioned it to you guys, and somebody commented and they're like, "Simping for Chris again." Like, dude, he's not in this video. Go somewhere else. Leave me alone. And for that, I'm putting Chris on my thumbnail next week. Just watch. Just watch. People are gonna love it. All right, for hacking. Oh, actually, we didn't even get to the inventory here. While the inventory UI concept shown recently on Star Citizen Live entered development with the team doing preparation work and setting up the new canvas, I am actually surprised that they're getting the inventory concept into development this soon. I thought we wouldn't be seeing that touch development until at least Q4 of this year. Oh. Wait, Holston Coop, how'd you do that? It says you got back to the 56 months. Now you're missing a month. F you, YouTube. Literally the worst. You legit want Chris and Sandy to have all the biggest yachts? Oh, dude, if they don't have yachts, is Star Citizen really successful? Hello, Talus. Thank you for your hard and awesome work as always. Hope you all have a good time in 4.3 PTU. Still waiting for the ePTU. You and me both. Thank you, though. Appreciate you. I feel like I should mention also, if anybody is into Battlefield, I know this is kind of out of left field. We just added a Battlefield channel to the disc. We didn't add it. I brought it back. Okay, we had a Battlefield channel 4 years ago, and I removed it and archived it because 2042 was not the business. But we brought it back this week because Battlefield 6 might possibly be the business! Yeah, folks, let's hear it! I'm so pumped. I'm so excited. So, if you're interested in that game, make sure to hop in, show some interest, get into that chat window, because I want to convince Mrs. Tomato for us to make a whole Battlefield category on the Discord server so we can start, like, nerding out about shooting other people. Now, let me see if I can find that inventory screen for you guys, because I know that's a bit of a contentious topic. People are kind of for it, kind of against it. Yeah, I don't think I have it in this folder. And I'm actually quite pleased that they're starting development on it. That being said, the UI team seems to be swamped, so I'm not really sure if that's going to mean much for us in the long term, or in the short term rather. But it's at least something. Ooh, I have no idea. Is it this one?
Our storage box.
Yeah, here we go.
Over here.
So this is the inventory concept they're talking about. Sounds really busy. They even said in this video that they've activated all icons and all things to make it look more busy and just kind of show you all of the features going on. I think the biggest thing about this inventory is just that it supports the ability to open multiple containers and drag and drop stuff from container to container. That's... we need that so bad. So freaking bad. YouTube is not moist right now. Shame on YouTube for missing subs. YouTube is now dry. YouTube, you're bone dry. Where's your moistness? Where are your toes? Sin can't be listening to all this blasphemy. What will we ever do? Wait, is the blasphemy the is it the positivity or the negativity? I never know. This is the latest update, Susper, yes. Christ Roberts. Oh God, no, f off. I have this picture of him on my computer that I sometimes use for stuff. Here it is. It's so funny to put this on like a thumbnail or something. In fact, hold on, where is this? This is on concept art. I don't know if I have this on both my computers. Let's see. Let us see. Are you here, Chris? Are you here? You want to join us for the rest of this? No, I don't see it on this folder. I was going to drop him into the stream so he could hang out. Just for right now, though. You don't want him peeking in on all the stuff we say. We get a little rowdy around these parts. Hold on, I can make this happen real quick. I just drag this into this folder. And now, it should be on my other computer. That's the loveliness of a network-attacked storage. Attacked. There it is. It's not working. Image. Upload. Mr. Chris. I promise you guys, this is super important. No, I don't think I can get his picture on there. Too bad. Guess he'll just have to settle for yachts and not being on our stream. It's definitely looking good. Yeah, dude, it looks really good. I was watching some of the guys play on Discord earlier today. You've been enjoying the hell out of it. Open beta starts tomorrow for BF6. I'm going to give it a try tomorrow. I'm hoping I can hop in. Oh, yes. This is on the Cameral thumbnails. That's right. He loves that picture. Much more than I do. A life-size cardboard cutout. I can't in good consciousness make a life-size cardboard cutout of anybody. I would be too scared of it coming to life at night. Like Night at the Museum. YouTube randomly unsubscribes people with no warning or notice. They have done that for years. Doesn't really surprise me that it would happen with memberships too. Oh, well, that's good. That's wonderful. All right. Why don't we continue, since we got good things to go over here. For hacking, more options were added to help teach players how to use the feature alongside bug fixing. Okay, that's just a weird sentence. That makes it sound like we're going to be hacking in game and also bug fixing for them. We're going to let players do more. We're going to teach them more about how to hack and also how to bug fix. For reference, the only tool that we actually know of for hacking so far is a little remote hacking tool that they teased us years upon years ago. And then outside of that, really all we've seen is like a old UI that they used and then promptly said they weren't going to use because they decided to change the way hacking works. And it's been years since we've heard a real proper explanation of how hacking works, so I'm sure it sounds even different from then. Here's the hacking tool that they once showed us. Basically, the idea is that this would just connect into whatever it is you were near, and you could spoof the credentials to act like you needed to log in. So, mainly where we've heard about hacking is in accessing other ships. And what you would do is, like, when you hail a ship, you have to call for it to give you access to dock with it. And the person in the ship can say yes or no. A hacking tool would basically allow you to call a ship to dock with it and then force the ship to tell you yes. So you would get the ability to properly dock with the ship, preferably after you turned off its power so it couldn't just fly away. But the idea was always just to spoof your credentials to get into a system. So this is something that I believe will function for anything that's driven by the power system we have now. That includes the radar dishes at outposts, or the shield systems on ships, or the crime stat system in a space station, life support, all that kind of stuff. And probably some purpose-built tools and things like that. The other thing we've seen related to hacking was the interface, like I mentioned. They showed us, but that is probably long gone from their actual plans for the gameplay. Doesn't mean I can't show you what it looked like, though. If I can find it. Hacking. There we are. This was very reminiscent to like Deus Ex style hacking. And it looked like it was going to be a cool little sci-fi Pac-Man minigame, but then they said they wanted to just do some form of like injecting code into the game instead. So as you can see, spoofing credentials, and then you would insert a node, they would say, and you'd have to find your way through a path to an endpoint without getting caught by the antivirus. Don't think that's in the plans anymore, so we'll see where they go with it. But they've also talked about hacking other times in monthly reports this year, so they are making progress. I imagine this is something they got working for Squadron 42 first, and now they have to make it actually work for Star Citizen. Or it was always 2 behind Twitch. You don't know anymore, Holston Coop? No, I think you were on both. I think you were right on top of both. Jay the bartender. My dude, are you making a good drink today? How's your cooking been going, by the way? We haven't gotten to talk about that. Good morning, NVIDIA Nova. Wish there would be more gameplay to hacking, possibly even command line stuff to gather some experience and even speed by knowing what you do. They talked about injecting code. Sounded to me kind of similar to how Mass Effect used to do it. But we're just going to have to wait for them to talk. I think hacking would be a perfect kind of thing for them to bring up at CitizenCon this year. Because they have not talked about that in a while. You have arrived, Jay. You made a coconut mojito yesterday. Nice, dude. That sounds actually delicious. I really like a pina colada. Here's some orange juice with vodka. Cheers to you, man. You enjoy the BioShock hacking style? Driving the water through the tubes? I remember how difficult that got. Continuing on, core gameplay also supported weapon content and implementing a bespoke flap animation used during the charge-up sequence of the Volt sniper rifle. The flap animation. A moist flap. Yeah, we're just combining awkward sounding words. All right, and the big one. July saw the engineering gameplay enter tech preview preparation. Preparation. How do I ban a streamer? You gotta mute me, man. The hacking sounds like it would have been too close to Shadowrun from the SNES. Maybe it was a copyright thing. Sakul, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. We need to figure out how to get the text-to-speech reading out the super chats. Much love to you. Honestly, if you can do things like Shadowrun, I say go for it until they sue you. All right, so engineering gameplay entered tech preview preparation. We've never heard that term before, so we have no idea what that actually means in terms of timing. But continuing on, they say the devs moved the code into a new staging stream. They also added the ability to limit the number of active items per pool. Thruster temperatures are now visible on the screen. Hoo. Not gonna lie, that makes me moist. And the iconography between the diagnostics and engineering screens have been unified. The team also added further damage balance modifiers. For example, making fuses on sturdier ships harder to destroy. Diagnostics also received severity filters and item categories to make it easier to identify critical issues. I think that's all good. hearing all of that was pretty nice. I don't think engineering is going to be as big a bomb drop on people as they expect, specifically because it does sound like they are, much like we heard with crafting, breaking it out into separate segments when they bring it into the game. But it does sound like we're getting actually kind of close to reaching tech preview. I don't know what tech preview preparation means, though. They've never done that before. Does that mean it's 1 month away? 6 months away? Is it this month? Is it September? Is it October? When is it? I don't know. Alan, thank you for the super chat as well, dude. He said, I'm gonna sound like a boomer, but I need to ask if the tech preview and the EPTU are the same thing. How do I get this tech preview channel thing? Yes. Yes, I believe they are the same thing. They would be actually crazy if they split up the tech preview and the EPTU and made them two different things. But let's go to the letter from the chairman at the beginning of the year and see if they do mention tech preview. Okay. So here's what Chris said at the beginning of the year. To achieve our goals, this is goals of playability, we are making a fundamental change. We are decoupling feature development from content creation and general fixes. This, dude, I kid you not, guys. Today, somebody said CIG was lying because they claimed that nothing would be released this year except for bug fixes. And I don't know how people get to that conclusion when the very first sentence they say about this playability thing is that there are 3 critical areas: performance, stability, and content. It can't be helped at that point. Who believes after all of this that they've said that they were literally going to do nothing but bug fixes in 2025? That's insane. How would they do that? How could they possibly like sell things if all they're doing is bug fixing? They still had to make content. Anyways, going back to it, because I just mentioned that because they say content creation and general fixes here, like they mentioned it everywhere. This means new features will no longer hold up content delivery or risk destabilizing the live environment. This approach will leverage the tech preview channel, which was reserved for major new pieces of technology like the replication layer and server meshing, but will now extend to gameplay feature testing soon. When a new feature is deemed complex or risky enough to require focused testing, we'll introduce a separate experimental PTU channel dedicated to that feature. Testing in this isolated channel will allow us to refine and stabilize the feature without impacting content and broader development work. Only once the feature is fully greenlit will it integrate into our standard Evo PTU live pipeline. So yes, it is, yeah, the tech preview channel is the ePTU channel. That's I think what this is kind of confirming here, but honestly, they didn't explicitly say it, so maybe we shouldn't draw conclusions, but it looks like that. Thank you for the support, Alan. Hope that answered your question. They moved it to staging building rather than their main testing building so that we can try it out. You're gonna call it a month or two? A month or two from this or a month or two from now? Because 1 month from this could mean this month. What was that third one? Right? Gamers don't read. I like that joke, honestly, because I also suck at reading at times. I completely miss stuff on the screen and you guys will be like, hey dude, just read the mission description and you'll figure it out. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, you're probably right. Gamers can't read. But then you also piss people off when you say that. All right, continuing on from... Oh, actually, I wanted to show you guys what they said about engineering tech preview. Oh, no. Let's go to our other browser.
And just have it shooting all around like the Rocinante. It's really cool, but it's not great for everybody else and whatnot. So there's a lot of balancing. There's a lot of bug fixing still to do with PDCs, and it is one of those higher priorities. In the list of tables, it's closer to that 6 inches than something like that.
You know
It might be worth mentioning that if we say bug fixing, that is not something that can be done within like 4 hours, 8 hours. Like especially like the PDC one. It's a very complex system, and by figuring out what actually makes them shoot well as engineering gameplay, this is something that we plan to release with a tech preview, so that we can gather feedback and fine-tune it. So
FPS scanning, you're talking about.
SPS scanning, yes. So that we fine-tune it so it doesn't break the game, right? Because
So this is when you hear people talk about, they mentioned the tech preview and engineering coming to the tech preview earlier in the year, back in like May time. This is what they're referring to.
FPS scanning, engineering are both tech preview things. Whatever the first version of crafting comes, that'll almost certainly be a tech preview thing there before it goes into PU. Those are the next 3 that I'm aware of. There might be one I'm not aware of, but as far as the top 3 priorities for tech preview, it's FPS scanning.
we really want to utilize the like I keep even repeating myself, but we really want to utilize the opportunities we gain with the tech preview, right? We learned from the jump points that having them in the tech preview, that we learned so much that we could tweak it before we moved forward. And because it was in the tech preview, we were way more agile in iterating over the things in comparison to the PU. So that is a key lesson we learned there. And now we understood the strength of it, and we really want to utilize it.
So here's the mention.
Yeah, Jared already hinted at it. So it's engineering gameplay. So I think the good news there is that we are really trying to get it out sooner than later. I've been saying that for quite some time now. I'm aware of it. Like the Arena Commander demo that we did was really helpful, and we really would like to like. We mentioned it at some point that we have the tech preview channel, so we really want to utilize that, and especially from the key lessons that we learned from the Arena Commander demo that basically showed like a glimpse of the engineering gameplay or what it can be. We realized, wait, we need more feedback. We need but the gameplay also needs to be in a more advanced stage than it was when we were in the Arena Commander time frame. So now we are really pushing hard, and everyone in my team is right now, or the people that are actually supposed to work on that in my team, they are really pushing hard that we hit a certain deadline that we set ourselves, that is sooner than later. So the earliest we can actually
I don't even what does that mean? What does sooner than later mean? Later is 16 years? And so sooner than that could be 12? I know he means in terms of months probably, but it's just, it doesn't help me. It doesn't help us know any real context sooner than later. At least not compared to literally telling us that it has moved into a staging stream, which is more contextual. That gives me, I think, an idea of months rather than maybe a full year.
Don't ask me when I would like to have it, because that would be
When
tomorrow.
would you like to have it?
Yeah, when would you like to have it?
Tomorrow, but that
God
is a
damn
very, very, very optimistic wish from my side. But no, so.
But if he had said anything at all, that's just, it's not safe. I wouldn't have said anything either. Oh yeah, I want it out by August. Look, it's August now. I'd be foaming at the mouth. Where's my tech preview?
We really want to
I'm already
utilize the
foaming
tech
at the mouth.
preview channel there, and right now we are really doing the best we can to put it there. And what I can already say is that the gameplay, or the engineering gameplay there, will not be the complete engineering gameplay. It will be another snippet of it, but it will be way more advanced than what.
Oh my god, it will be a snip. Maybe that's where their bespoke flap animation comes from, because it's a snip of engineering. I'm so sorry. That's awful. I'm terrible. Sekul, thank you so much for the memberships on YouTube. You're great. Ignore what I just said, everybody. Yeah, let's hear it for Sekul. Awesome, dude. Supporting from YouTube is a big W. Huge forehead energy. I really appreciate you, man. Thanks for keeping this going. Where were we?
You saw in the Arena Commander, and yeah, what you will also be able to do, so it will not only be Arena Commander, but it will also be like the PU. So we will be the first time experiencing the full, or the first segment of the engineering gameplay in the PU, which I am really looking forward to get in all of your hands.
And fire.
Oh, yeah, and fire.
Yeah. True.
I'm excited to see fires just breaking out all throughout an Idris and whatnot. And people trying to run through and putting the fires out and stuff.
And that's actually a spoiler, isn't it?
What? The Idris is out. Everybody knows that right now, right?
No, I mean that the first release will be with fire.
No, we did like 6 shows on
I love it when they just accidentally confirm something like this for us.
I've been talking about engineering for years and years. I'm waiting on you. Let's get it out there.
No, Jared totally just spoiled that. Like, we would not know that fire was... I mean, obviously they've talked about plenty of things, and fire does look like it's getting pretty close, but there's a confirmation, which was nice.
Yeah, well, it also will have fire and fire extinguishers, so that it will be the first time that you then can actually be a firefighter.
You can see it on his
in the
face.
game.
I've literally done like 3 shows dedicated just to fire. You know about fire. You know about fire.
Leaked!
It's cool.
Yeah, the tech preview is available to everybody. That's not going to be closed testing, so anybody will be able to give feedback on that. They've mentioned before that fire was the first part of engineering. Yeah, but they've also in the monthly report, and I think May, was it? It's either May or June. They did say that they were breaking engineering up to deliver it. So I feel like once they said that, we weren't really sure what was going to be included in the first deliveries. Let's see. Engineering team reviewed feedback and outstanding work before dividing the feature into smaller milestones. The first milestone primarily covers core gameplay mechanics, such as the engineering screen and its ability to manipulate power distribution and item states. A recent internal review provided feedback and yeah. See, the only thing that they said here was the first milestone, which they were dividing them into to deliver in smaller chunks, was going to allow us to manipulate power distribution and item states. There was no mention of fire at that time. I love you, Jared. You good energy, man. So we can kind of understand what will be coming with this tech preview, and hopefully it's in the next couple months. Even if the team aren't working on features anymore for Squadron 42, you honestly hope they take everybody from the company and make constant play tests the last few months. Like they make them all play it. Fire is an item state. Maybe. Continuing on with core gameplay, as part of the ongoing looting and harvestable quality of life initiative, the team completed a new implementation of loot generation. This system is twice as fast. Hello.
You got the time of leaving work as the time.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Sorry, guys. I got to message Mr. Kraken real quick about the podcast coming up. All right. How do I know you have a Kraken? Release it, dude. Release that Kraken, baby. Where were we? So they're working on a new loot generation system. This system is twice as fast as the previous version and includes better controls for the designers alongside improved debug tools. I still remember when they were putting together the loot system. We went over this like earlier this summer, and they were talking about being able to assign like tags to certain loot so it spawned in certain places. Hopefully whatever this is that they're doing, the new implementation, is something a little more finalized. CIG employee, hey folks, indeed, Resource Rush has been extended a few more weeks into 4.3. Yeah, I mean, the freaking PTU loading screen kind of tells you, right? They sort of let it out in that, but it's nice to hear it from CIG officially. Looking forward to doing more Resource Rush stuff. Good for them. Good for them. I hope that makes people a little happier about how things are going. Resource Rush extended multiple weeks into the future. It's kind of funny that in lore, they're like, yeah, people have been so successful at helping us get this stuff done that we're just going to let them keep doing it for longer. It's like the government's like, yes, we need to fundraise the building of this space elevator. And then they reach their goals for the space elevator. And they're like, you know what? You guys gave us so much money. Just keep giving more. And we'll build another space elevator. How about that? It's very UEE of them. Moving forward in core gameplay, the item expiry tool, item expiry feature kicked off, which will allow the designers to define the functionality lifetime of items. This is intended for items such as keycards that are only meant to be usable, for a limited amount of time before they become non-functional. Oh, they got us. They got us, folks. An item's expiry date and state and timer will be visible in the inventory. Progress on item recovery tier 1 continued, including various setup and debug tool tasks. Item recovery tier 1 is great. We'll touch on that real quick once we get a chance. But this item expiry thing, having a timer in your inventory, corresponds with some of the timers we're seeing here. And that might be why they displayed these timers. These are like the actual effective use of this item going out of date. That, my friends, that is, that's important because we just farmed these cards. I mean, every time I go to Hathor, I just pick up these dish alignment cards. I'm like, oh, I'll use these next time I come by here. But if they spawn and they only have, say, an hour-long timer or a 2-hour timer or something, well, that makes it more strategic for when you need to get that stuff. Yeah, moldy double dogs. Here's a timer for when your double dog gets the green goo on it. Solid. I mean, that makes sense as an addition. And then item recovery tier 1. Let's go back. Let's go back and do a little refresher at what item recovery is going to look like. Green goo is just more flavor. It's good for your bones, man. You need the nutrition, you need the vitamins and stuff. Yo, can I give a shout out to YouTube? You guys you got up here with the support today. Thank you. Sakul? Holston Coop? Somebody dropped like 5 freaking memberships. Yeah, Unloading Whale dropped 5 memberships, man. Y'all are awesome. All right, so tier 1 of item recovery, this is what it includes if you forgot. First up, the personal loadout. Players can register their equipped items, which can be reclaimed for a fee at specific kiosks or freight elevators. 2, ships and interiors. Ships, along with their loadouts, decorations, and locker contents, can also be registered. They can then be claimed in the state they were previously registered at ASOP terminals for a price. Honestly, this is actually getting pretty deep into the value of maintaining your items and making sure you don't lose them. The next one, looting and bricked items. Once an item is looted, so you will be able to loot items off players again, it remains usable until the original owner reclaims it or marks it as stolen. At that point, a dead man's switch is activated, meaning it will cease to function after a period of time. That's going to be the new thing that people are complaining about, and it will indeed be annoying until they bring in the tier 2 where an item can be dismantled for crafting materials, but I guess that won't happen until we have crafting. But it does allow for things to not be duped, obviously, which is the big thing they're probably trying to avoid. 4. While a looted and or stolen bricked item is no longer usable, you can still sell the item for credits, so there's still reason to loot those things even if somebody does claim it as stolen. 5. Pledge items are auto-registered and will never lose their registration status. They can always be claimed back even if they were not manually registered. So they're really, this item recovery tier 1 is, as they say here, a focus on registering things. It's building the ownership system, which is so freaking important in this game and is so lacking in this game right now. Being able to actually know where something is supposed to be as opposed to being stolen and registered as being stolen, as opposed to just like somebody picking it up and walking around with it and suddenly it's theirs. And if you go back to the Star Citizen 1.0 panel, they go into quite a bit of detail here in terms of how this works with recovering things. Let me see. Transferable warranties, insurance and warranty, death of spaceman, tax insurance, core progression. Is it up here? Ship piracy. Listen to this.
This means if someone explore what ownership, all ships and high-value items that you own will automatically be assigned to you. This means if someone steals your ship, you can mark it as stolen, either via an insurance claim or in your Mobi. This will then trigger a dead man switch on the stolen ship, meaning it will cease to function after a period of time.
Again, I'm just grateful that they're actually developing and working on the stuff they talked about at CitizenCon last year.
But what options does this leave as a pirate? Well, you can still salvage it. You can tow it back to your fabrication hangar to dismantle it for resources. Or if you have a high enough rep with the council, our criminal guild, you can get the dead man switch disabled and pay for a new title deed to become its new owner.
Stealing ships, yes!
Also, if you're in a lawful system, you'll need to find a transient jump tunnel, as all major locations and POIs will have custom security that will scan you on arrival. Okay.
They actually, I don't even know if the security is back around space stations. They talked about it in the, I think 4.2.1. But I'm glad to hear security is kind of starting to come back into the game, because like, it's kind of crazy to have a space game with no security.
So with that out the way, let's look at the unlawful system in Pyro.
So with that being said, let's jump back real quick just to see what they had to say about insurance claims here, because this is also going to be part of this system.
And getting your ship back without a claim. Well, we want claim timers to be proportional to the crafting timers. This means it's more beneficial for you to go back and get your original ship. For this, we're going to be introducing a shuttle ship, just like a courtesy car.
Yeah!
You'll be able to claim the shuttle at no extra cost to most locations, and then fly it back to your original ship. Once back in your ship, the shuttle will automatically return home.
Yeah!
If your ship has been legitimately lost, though, then you'll need to claim it back. And as we'll be increasing claim timers, this will mean some ships will take longer than others. With starter or small ships always being readily available, and larger capital-sized ships taking a long time. So it's always better to try and get your ship back if possible. Okay, so we've talked about...
Okay, so that's about ships, and I see a question in chat. So is it just for ships or items too? I'm not entirely sure how deep they're going to go with the insurance when it comes to items, but when we're talking about recovery here, or T1, this is, most people are thinking in terms of items. This is going to be something that's introduced with the ability to register your gear and ships at kiosks or ASOP terminals. So I think there's going to be insurance for all this stuff. That's going to be one of the big money sinks of the game. Paying for the insurance so you can get these things back when you want them. However, you also will brick the items when somebody has stolen it and all that jazz. We as players on the outside aren't going to understand this until we get hands-on. This is literally the shortest explanation they could probably make of this system without getting long in the tooth and over explanatory. But I'm really, really glad that they're working on T1, and we've seen it reported multiple times now in these monthly reports. Hopefully we see something more extensive than just progress continued, because that's what they've said for like 3 months now. And just like with the engineering thing, we don't have like a timeline on this, which I know they don't want to give timelines. Timelines screw them up. Timelines screw us up. I die when a timeline comes and goes and you don't see something happen. It's actual death. It's the worst thing in the world. I could literally lose my entire household and it would be better. No, I'm kidding. There's a lot of expectation around these things, and when they miss a deadline, it reflects pretty poorly. So they're not going to tell us specifics until it's pretty close, much like they're doing with engineering here. And for that reason, I think item recovery tier 1 is still pretty far out. I'm not willing to say it's 2026. Maybe they finish it by the end of this year and get us something. I think that would be like, I would hate to be on the tier 0 item recovery for longer than another 4 months. But they're not working at our speed. They're working at Squadron 42 speed, so who knows? Either way, that's an item recovery update and most of the information we have on how that system will work up until now. All right, continuing on. The team completed the refactor of quantum interdiction for server meshing. Sorry, hold on a second. Let me write that down. Actively trying to schedule out this podcast right now. All right. The team completed the refactor of quantum interdiction for server meshing. We heard about that last week, I believe, which was released in, yeah, there it is, Alpha 4.2.1, last month, I mean. There are still a few outstanding tasks to complete that will be delivered as part of future releases. Let's go, team! Refactors! Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Yes. There it is, guys. Yeah, we love it. That's good stuff, man. Quantum interdiction, security coming in, these are things that might actually start leading to consequences for bad actors in Star Citizen, which is always a good thing. We don't like bad actors. We only like good actors, like Morgan Freeman. The team also continued to work on the flight system. For example, control surfaces fly-by-wire system was finished, which will feed pilot commands to IFCS to correctly adjust control surfaces in atmosphere, much like a modern fighter jet would. This also included the implementation of auto-trimming and various bugs that came out of playtesting. We saw control surfaces in leaks maybe a month or two ago, and a lot of the feedback on it was, this is not working well. We can now see that the team wasn't done with it, and it very well might not have been actually working at all how it was supposed to be at that time. So, more work into control surfaces. Man, I will give you guys a little look at control surfaces, a little sneak peek preview of what they showed us in the past and what they were saying about it. But there's not really been too much on it since then, and genuinely it seems like there was just a lot to do with this system at that time already, and they're still working on it. Thank you for dropping that link to the exclusive videos, by the way, Maverick. Anybody who's gotten a subscription or a membership on YouTube, or if you decide to be an amazing Patreon supporter, you have access to our monthly exclusive videos. I will be releasing a new one in a few weeks, but the last one was about bounty hunting being held back by the economy simulation system, and there are plenty of other ones before that. I try to keep at least 6 in the list for you guys to watch. They come out publicly eventually, sometimes outdated, because it's... Just want to be clear. It is incredibly hard to make an interesting video about Star Citizen that's still relevant 6 months later. But if you want to give them a go and you did get a membership or anything, just follow that link. Check it out. They're all linked on there in the pinned comments, and I'm happy to share them with you because you're great people and you make this possible. Here is control surfaces, last we heard about it.
We'll pull the nose back into the wind, and once you have enough speed, he can actually, well, he gets authority back over these control surfaces. That means for you as players, what you can actually do, you can do aerobraking, you can do pure gliding if you want to. You can even do like competitions like, I don't know, like drop ships out of orbit and then see how far they glide. This is all possible with a new system. So let's talk about the problem, how do you come to a stop now? To come to a stop with the new system, you need to purposefully put the ship into a stall. But don't worry, when we don't have the thrusters disconnected, IFCS will help you. So you're gonna bring down the speed more and more until you're reaching stall speed, which is about now. And then the thrusters will kick in and catch you. That means, however, you are now in a state that the thrusters don't like, right? So at the moment we have turned this up, but in the future you will not be able to hold this for long. So
now that's why I was talking about this mention here. Thruster temperatures are now visible on screen because that's going to become important when you start trying to hover in atmosphere without flying, because control surfaces aren't going to keep you up if you bring your ship to a halt. That's not something they showed off in this demo, but that's something I'm incredibly excited to see because that suddenly makes VTOL ships, Prospector, your C1 Spirit, your Valkyrie, your Asgard, your Fortune, any ship with VTOL thrusters suddenly becomes so much more useful in atmosphere than other ships. And I think that's what makes having a bunch of spaceships actually matter, is some of them have more benefits for different reasons over others.
Brand, for example, now from a hover, strafe is left, more left, more left, more left. The wind flow again pulls the ship over, and you go forward again.
Oh yeah, dude, people are gonna hate this when it comes out. This will be another point of contention for the community. You'll see a lot of people saying they're going the wrong direction. Why are you guys doing this? I think the best thing that they can be doing in preparation of this is making sure that there is content parity on planets and in space, so that people don't feel like they need to go and fly an atmosphere to get to the gameplay that they want to do. This should be something that is available for you, but not necessarily required if you're not comfortable flying in atmosphere, because atmospheric flight's going to get more difficult with stuff like this. Continuing on, for quantum travel, the team continued working on the implementation of the new mechanics. That is the most undescripted update on a feature I think I've ever read in a monthly report. For quantum travel, work continued. Is kind of what that says. FPS radar and scanning saw additional progress through July, with further improvements allowing the designers to define custom scan data. AI can now react to being scanned and respond accordingly. Players will also be able to identify if enemy NPCs have a radar equipped and could perceive the player's scanning. Ooh. Offensive and defensive scanning potential. This kind of falls in line with their whole Delta signatures thing. Like maybe if an NPC turns on their radar, you get a Delta signature so you know they're actively scanning your ship. And you make calls based on that. I can't wait for the point at which we're not shooting each other to get the upper hand, but we're scanning each other to get the upper hand, and understanding what the capabilities or what the inclusions of the ship you're opposite of are. Dude, this is like, oh God. Even if I only ever encounter NPCs doing this stuff, this is actually the dream of what I want from a space game. the strategic understanding of the situation you're in and having the time to make the call based on that info you get. Ooh, wait. Yeah, I like that. That's good stuff. That deserves a grunt birthday party. Let's hear it. Yeah. Scanning progress. Doesn't mean it's coming to the game anytime soon, which is the most annoying part, and I think probably the bane of all of our existence in 2025. But like I said, the core gameplay part of this monthly report is usually the most exciting. It's nice to hear about. The ongoing transport refactor continued with additional work for dynamic destinations such as instanced hangars. Core gameplay also supported the content teams in delivering the recent resource drive and escort missions. Cool. The escort missions are the first time we're ever seeing spawn closets for NPC ships. I was just watching The Captain's Table. Love that podcast. Go check it out. Very good show. I was just watching that. Cool. I was just watching that the other day, and Paul mentioned that we don't have spawn closets for NPC ships. And I realized this is the first time we do. We talked about this when we tried the mission on stream a couple weeks ago. This might actually be them testing out the ability to spawn NPC ships. They're so close. We're getting ships that spawn in a hangar, the hangar doors open, they take off, they fly out for a bit, and then they quantum travel away. That's all we need. We need that times like 10 at every space station, and then suddenly we have NPC ship traffic. Throw in a little ATC here and there, maybe a pirate attack once or twice with some security backing them up, and boom, dude, we've got a populated, actually bustling space environment in Star Citizen, which is so far. Can I just show you guys how long ago they were trying to... I don't even think I have the footage for this. It's gonna be a long time ago. Let's see. Splines, would it come up from that? There was a time when they mentioned AI using these landing splines to take off and land on planets and fly up into orbit, and this would be like the way that we would see NPC traffic coming and going from cities. And it would be cool because ships are cool to see flying. But this was probably like 2019 that they were talking about it, 2018. And it has been longer than it takes for me to learn about a new game, see the game release, play through that game, and then drop it for a new game, and we still haven't seen that feature come into the game. So if they can actually get it functioning in the game consistently, like with these escort missions, and they can apply some narrative to it, any little bit of narrative to it, that's a big change for the game in my opinion. Now I have this footage. This is just them showing NPCs taking off and landing from locations. This is 2022. And okay, cool. NPCs can land, but it didn't really give us a sense of them actually flying out to orbit or anything like that. But this might be the only footage I actually have showing this kind of stuff off. I do believe it is. So they've done a lot of experimenting with this, but yeah, like Hustle said, we also need the server power for it. And it does look like they're bolstering the server power in Stanton. They're now running it with, I think, 7 servers. And they're running Pyro with 3. So they are showing that they're going to need to add more servers to these star systems, at least until they can optimize the game more in order to have these sorts of things happening. But man, if we could get there, that would be amazing. I think they're reworking the space stations and hangars. They do that. They do have that Halsey manual loading outside elevator they need to add to stations. Yeah, they'll probably need to rework stations a little bit. And yes, just like Elite Dangerous stations. Easy, but it's CIG. Honestly, I'm always thinking easy, but Squadron 42 is taking up most of their attention. Shall we close up the giveaway, Mrs. Tomato? Thank you so much for running that giveaway for Twitch. And Twitch, thank you guys for being such amazing real ones over the last month. It has been It's been a lot. Y'all have no idea. It makes a huge step, especially during this time when we're trying to give ourselves some space and move out of here and make a future for us and our family. We can't make those calls without you guys. Thank you for that. Or they need dynamic server meshing to be more efficient with the servers. That could also be part of it, yeah. Giveaway is closed and Ecto Benet won the giveaway with a 20% chance. Dang, not bad, dude. How did you get a 20% chance of winning? That's wild. I don't know. Okay, I don't know what the statistics were there, but that is a high number. Congratulations, dude. You got yourself a Honda Civic Custodian rifle. Okay, continuing on. For the upcoming August release, that's 4.3, core gameplay worked with the content teams to expose more controls for item rewards. Additional support for the mechanics of an upcoming creature was also provided. They're talking about creatures quite a bit here. Something new coming, I hope. The team then invested time in addressing critical issues preventing the usage of drop-off lockers that are required for an upcoming set of missions. Various bugs, edge cases, and exploits were also addressed. I'm just happy to hear that there's another upcoming set of missions. I mean, events. Sorry. New events are coming to the game. This is good for everybody, in my opinion. Alright, economy team. What's going on with the economy? The economy team is currently analyzing their recent community poll. We would like to thank everybody for the extremely useful feedback that you provided. Your answers will help us better prioritize our focus for the next few months. Let me see if I can find that. The economy poll. Here we go. Economy feedback survey. Okay, I gotta go to the other browser.
Yep, and just
Okay, I guess I've been logged out of all browsers. That's always fun. Where do you enter usually? The giveaway? For this one, it was just !enter, but if you want to enter to win the RSI Meteor and a copy of Star Citizen, type an !giveaway. That will make a link pop up and you can follow that link to enter. Page you were looking for is not found. Oh, did they close it? Yeah, I think it's gone. See if anybody posted the options on here. I don't see. I think I answered this poll. There's been so much happening this summer that it's hard to keep up. Hey, what's up, Swanky Fisherman? Swanky Hassan. Yeah, I guess it's gonna be gone. Well, they put out an economy poll. It looks like people were unhappy with the choices there. But, you know, that's how it goes. They also reviewed engagement metrics for the new content introduced this year with the aim of balancing it in a way that's both fun and fair. As an ongoing effort to make the game more accessible, the team are adding the ammunition used by most FPS weapons to a significant number of shops. I've been appreciating that, like, if a weapon comes into the game, I can go to an FPS shop and the ammo is actually available. Now players should be able to find the ammo of their favorite weapons more easily. However, ammo for the more special weapons will remain exclusive. I'm assuming that means like the railgun and other power weapons, because I found the various Volt weapons, for instance, which I think are the most special weapons we've gotten in a while. I find their ammo in the shops pretty regularly. The economy entry really feels like they're saying we are working on figuring out what an economy in a video game is, and it's a little disheartening. I'm really hoping they have more done and are not just communicating their progress well. You know what would be interesting is to hear where the economy team came from in terms of what companies they used to work at. Because there are, I mean, let's take Tony Zurvik, for instance. He was a big part of the Ultima 7 team, I think. Ultima 7 development team. Yeah, he worked on the Ultima 7 AI systems. And from what I've heard, they had some good AI systems and economy in that game. Now, Tony Zurvik isn't working for Star Citizen anymore. He's moved on to his own things, and he's just kind of emeritus at CIG. But the people who worked on the economy team under him are still there, and they're still working on the same fundamentals that were set up. It would be nice to be able to see the games that they've worked on before and be like, oh yeah, you know, clearly they know what they're doing. Because like you said, even if this update feels like they're saying they're trying to figure out what an economy is in a video game, if you can see the economies they worked on previously, that could probably let you rest a little easier that despite what the updates might feel like or sound like, they still have something going on, that they know what they're doing. Not to it. Hey, thanks for the Prime sub, mate. I appreciate you. As good a time as any to let everybody know that you can, if you have Amazon Prime, you get a free Prime sub every month on Twitch to throw to your favorite streamer. And as always, it does not have to be me. There are a lot of really, really good Star Citizen streamers and space nerds out there for you to support with your free Amazon Bezos bucks. But it is there, and I appreciate, Notarit, that you used it here. As an ongoing effort to make the game more accessible, the team are adding the ammunition used by, we already said that part. So that's what we have from economy so far. What'd you miss, Lurch? Quite a bit of good information, but you didn't miss the ship part. So you're doing okay. If you were CIG, you'd try to poach economy folks from Eve. Eve's got a pretty cool economy. It gets pretty deep. Get the feeling they're waiting for something that's going to open the floodgates for them to start accelerating the economy. Maybe crafting? Ah, the old floodgates. Yeah, the Prowler giveaway already happened. The winner was chosen a couple weeks ago. We are now giving away an RSI Meteor. So you have the opportunity to get in on that at the active giveaway right now. Moving on to the mission design team. The mission design team monitored the resource drive event to see how players interacted with the event, fixed some small exploits, helped engineering fix the mission generation system. They then looked at old locations that weren't included in the Alpha 4.0 refactor and therefore don't currently have missions. Once complete, players will see existing combat missions begin to target some of these locations. So here's where my predicament comes in. I asked recently why new locations are being called events when they get added to games, as opposed to just like new locations. And for the most part, the answers seem to circle around the idea that because CIG will add in a new location, but then it's not popular later on or it's not supported later on, that makes it an event. So if we call everything an event, what does happen when CIG starts adding things to these locations again? Do they suddenly go from being events to locations? Or do they stay events because they were once events, but now they're like events that get updates? What happens to an event when it isn't time limited? These semantics break my brain. I don't know where to go with that. Totally want to see a video of that Tomato, Astropub, Yamix, and Salty Mike would be epic. I've been chatting with Yamix a lot lately. Probably get him on for a show sometime soon. Is becoming a location after being an event a demotion or just a sideways shift? Is a location an event if there's nothing to do there when it's first added. By calling it an event, does that add to its temporarity? By people thinking it'll soon be gone or no longer relevant, so by calling it an event, it creates a rod for its own back? Dude, that's what I was wondering. Because, like, if you call, for instance, underground facilities an event, and resource rush an event, what happens when resource rush leaves and the underground facilities don't? They're just less supported. Are they then events until CIG returns to them and puts something like updates their physics, and then they're not events? Do they go back to being locations? Event is a short term. An event implies limited time. Folks, I agree with you there. But hold on. I want to see if I can pull. Nah, never mind. It's not even worth it. It's just Twitter nonsense. Make sure to ask Yamex about the ship sales they started doing in Elite. Has he been having a field day with that? Maybe events are just introductions for new locations, and once they have been out-evented, they get cycled into the regular mission location pool. What if they're never out-evented? Like, take the Hathor facilities, for instance. Are the Hathor facilities still in event? Because when they first came in, you could take mercenary missions at the planetary alignment facilities. So they were mission locations, but they were also events. But you can still do everything that you could do there then. You can still do it now. Align and Mine was the event. It's gone now. But it's not. You can still align and mine. So does that make it a permanent event? Hathor is a location and events happen there, but since they persist, they are just content. Right. But everything that has happened there continues to happen there. Or like, how about Security Post Korea? Technically, that was added in, and it had... Was it an event because it was added? Do DC still have active missions? I think so. I'm pretty sure they do, but they don't add anything new to them. Were the addition of distribution centers an event? I mean, from that description, really every update that comes to the game is an event, right? And at that point, you kind of lose the whole point of the word, because then you go and you call Resource Rush an event. But Resource Rush is time limited. So if you tell somebody that Resource Rush is an event, but also that Stormbreaker is an event, people are going to think that Stormbreaker is time limited. Or they'll think that Resource Rush is permanent, if you're calling them both the same thing. A grand opening is an event, but once the event ends, the restaurant doesn't go away. Yeah. What's the code for the Meteor giveaway? I think it's Get Us Out of Here, if I'm not mistaken. Is it the difference between an event and an activity? I don't think so. I think it's the difference between an event, an activity, and a location. A location can host an event or an activity, but the location itself isn't going away. Like, the resource rush didn't spawn some new location that's gonna go away at some point. It's just an event that takes place across the game. Xenothreat didn't spawn any new location that's going away. It just takes place in the game. Jumptown, Siege of Orison, all of these places are locations that still exist in the game. Granted, the Siege of Orison place doesn't spawn anything at this point. But like, those were locations, and then the events took place at those locations. I don't know, I just think that when they talk about these things, like creating missions that encourage players to engage with new content and stuff, or making new missions for places that already existed, this is when it starts to get confusing using those kinds of semantics. Here they say, alongside this, the team supported Alpha 4.3 deliverables by creating missions that encourage players to engage with the new content. That's what people seem to focus on as being events. Missions that encourage engagement with new content. But if those missions don't go away, then they're just missions. To you, locations, events, and game loops are three different parts that can work together. Like Jumptown is an event that takes place at a location. If the event is not on, then the Jumptown's locations are useless. Hathor is a location with a game loop where you can activate an event to mine. Right. That's like a dynamic event, yeah? Events are stuff that is triggered by something in the world, CIJ activating it. Right. Lumping events and locations together is also a little bit of the cause of the problem. True. That takes a little bit of extra critical thought on our part. Let me out, this is not a song. I'm begging for help. I'm screaming for help. Please, let me out. Guess they mean the Onyx contracts, so you have some reason to go in there. Maybe. The Onyx contracts are an event. Isn't it easier to just outsource the decision on what events are to CIG? They are careful with their language on that, aren't they? I mean, yes, but like, people don't trust them or believe them. Ectobenet, you did win. You won indeed, my friend. Get in contact with Mrs. Tomato so we can get you the good stuff. You like the grand opening analogy? You don't find it confusing? Yeah, I like anything really that relates to food. Gets me going, dude. All right, let's move on to narrative here. Last month, the narrative team were deeply involved in getting the upcoming Alpha 4.3 patch ready for release by refining and tweaking mission text, objectives, UI screens, and branding to deliver a cohesive narrative experience at the new location. Blizna, hello new player. What should you be consuming from this information as someone who's starting out and looking to make some money? To be quite honest, this information isn't that useful to, like, if you're looking for in-game information. This is a lot of what's coming up next. You might hear some stuff here about missions and things to do, but if you're just looking to make some money, there's a whole multitude of options, to be honest. The best options are dependent on what you're interested in doing in the game. Love how spun out odd community colloquialisms have made you. Dude, I'm so triggered by them, it's bad. It's awful. It's like the whole quantum quanta thing. I'm just a nitpicky dude. Which is why it doesn't really matter all that much. It's just, these are just like the little things that keep me up at night. They're not that serious. By the way, good to see you, Mr. Kraken. See you soon. Go and open a burger shop in Area 18. I'll call it Bob's Burgers. That might lead to trouble. By the way, Blizna, thank you for hopping into this stream as a new player. This is a relatively deep stream to get into. But please keep asking around on chat. People will tell you the best ways to make some money in game, or you could join the Discord and people will walk you straight through it and probably join you in game to do it. DV Grim, thank you for the Prime sub, mate. Appreciate your support over on Twitch. All right, back to it. Last month, the narrative team were deeply involved in getting the upcoming 4.3 patch ready for release by refining and tweaking mission text, objectives, UI screens, and branding to deliver a cohesive narrative experience at the new location. They said location. The team also had a performance capture session that covered content for several upcoming patches. Narrative have been doing smaller and more frequent capture sessions this year to better match the cadence that needs of this release cycle. Something that's good to keep in mind, a few months ago, they actually mentioned that Narrative is already working on stuff for next year. They're brainstorming, was it here? Narrative have been solidifying the next major story arc as the mission content comes into more focus. The team are striving to ensure that stories blah 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 blah. No, that's not it. I think it's May. I believe in the May monthly report, they mentioned the narrative efforts for next year. Here we go. Finally, the team solidified the story plans for next year, taking the initial high-level outline and pulling in more details to help other teams continue with their planning. So whatever we're seeing Q1 and Q2 of 2026, just keep in mind that's stuff that they're already working on now. We might get to that point and they might do something and people will be like, oh, the end of the year was so bad for them. Look at what they're trying to do with the narrative now. Just remember, like, they're working pretty far ahead, at least in the narrative sense of things. Additionally, the team crafted mission text and placeholder scripts for several gameplay scenarios that will be introduced later this year. Quote from them, because we need to record scripts far enough in advance for the material to be processed and placed in game, we work with design to record additional material to account for any future adjustments that may need to be made as the gameplay is polished. It's a careful balancing act between getting extra coverage and not bogging down sessions with material that will never be used. That's fair. They're really kind of running on a treadmill right now, especially considering they don't have a full dedicated team working on this stuff. Also, the team began filling in additional details for an upcoming location, honing specifics to help further guide art and design as they populate it with locations and gameplay. They also crafted lore for a new ship seller. Whoa. Who the narrative team hopes will be a fun addition to the verse, a new ship seller. How interesting would that be if this was like an actual person and not just some store? You think they're moving towards video chats for mission givers as a standard and doing the mocap for it? Seems like it. I really hope we still see some mission givers in real life though. The guy from Levski, that'd be cool. I miss Levski. Online technology team, live tools improved how developers report bugs through the crash handler, making it more reliable. It also supports a wider range of use cases to help catch and resolve issues faster than ever. The online services team worked on the Stow context API and supported missions on both the server and game sides. Tasks for the blueprint library also began, with API development planned for August. Ooh. API support for a blueprint library. That's the big part of crafting. God, I'm starting to lose control of my mouth. Finally, the team continued their work and discussions on Item Imprint V1. Item Imprint V1. That must be part of the ownership system. Contender to Wicklow would be interesting. R&D. In July, the R&D team's focus shifted exclusively to analyzing performance and optimizing engine and game code. That's good to hear. This will remain the primary focus for the foreseeable future. That's extremely good to hear. Wait, that's great. R&D is entirely focused on performance and code optimization. I really hope that bears some fruit in the second half of this year. UI. Where'd Tony Z come up? UI. The UI team continued to support an upcoming gameplay event, contributing more interactive and environmental screens than ever before. This followed the usual process of working closely with the game designers to create the layout, defining the look with concept art, then working with tech design to implement them in the game. So this is probably like a Q4 edition that we're hearing about. Something good to keep in mind. The devs also started work on the inventory UI that was revealed in Star Citizen Live episode Earning in the Verse. We went over that. They said it's a complex UI that covers several things for future gameplay, so we'll be working on it for a while. There is the confirmation that a while in UI team speak means absolutely not this year. So just to splash a little bit of reality on that. Finally, the team created the dashboard and MFD UI for an upcoming vehicle, which has several unique visual features. Can't imagine what this might be, other than, you know, Kruger Intergalactic. Could be something else, though. Could be something else. VFX. Finally, VFX's main focus throughout July was Alpha 4.3, including new locations, bespoke events in 4.3. See, when CIG uses it, you don't even know. Vehicles and weapons. They also began preparing for 4.3.1 as related tasks started to arrive. My friends, that is our monthly report. Now we go back to the ship update and we get to talk about what happened with ships. But I do want to say that core gameplay section, I mean, we spent a lot of time on this. We spent a lot of time on this monthly report in general. This core gameplay section was really good. There was a lot of good information here, a lot of good little snippets as to what's going on and what's coming up. But as with almost everything we've covered this year, there's really not much knowing when all of it's coming to the game. The only thing that reliably we know is coming to the game in due time is another ship, or the stuff that they mentioned specifically for each update, like 4.3.1 and 4.3. So as much as it's great that we still have this vestige of a look into the development of the features for Star Citizen and all of that stuff, it still is the year of questions, the year of wins, even more so than previous years, because the roadmap is only 1 quarter long. The progress tracker is supposed to get updated next year, but I don't know how reliable that's going to be either. And ISC is not showing future feature development anymore. So I'm glad to have been able to go over this with you. I hope you got some good information from this. Maybe it ballooned your hype. Maybe it satiated your hype a little bit. Maybe it disappointed you a little bit. Either way, I am the messenger with a couple opinions, and I hope it helped. Thanks so much for watching. That is the end of our monthly report, guys. I'm sorry, I'm so tired. My energy level has dropped so much since we started. We went to pick up my niece from Istanbul yesterday, and that's about a 4-hour drive. But we also spent some time in the city. We saw some friends, met their new baby, got some food. So we were out for the whole day, and then we had to drive back, and we didn't get back until like 2 o'clock in the morning. And then we had a 7 a.m. meeting this morning. So like, I'm not running on a lot of sleep, and it just started to really hit me. But we still have spaceships to go over, so that should keep me up. That's good hype. Shall we talk about spaceships, folks? The spaceship section of the monthly report is an exciting one this month. It's got a lot of interesting tidbits of information on spaceships that people are pretty excited about. We got our spaceship tracking sheet here, so we'll update it as we read through. Thank you for joining me. Let's get into it. First up, in the UK, the Anvil Paladin had its grey box gate review. This highlighted some challenges with the side turret setup, resulting in further rounds of iteration to get something that plays well whilst adhering to the original concept. Let me give you guys a quick reminder of what the Anvil Paladin looks like, because it's honestly, it's a beautiful ship. I think this is going to be such a great ship. Oh, they didn't do a video on it? There was no Anvil Paladin video? What's wrong with you guys? This is going to be a great one for small combat missions with your friends, I think. It's going to be pretty solid. Better choice than a Redeemer for sure, for that kind of stuff. It's got a big gun. It's got a big old gun on the bottom. I just, It's got a big old gun on the bottom for your dedicated gunner. It's also got some side turrets here, as they mentioned in this report. It's got a really cool setup where you're all kind of sitting together. So if you're going after a paladin, just bomb the cockpit and you're good. Don't even have to worry about shooting the rest of the ship, huh? It reminds me of the Hammerhead, the way that they have you sitting staggered like this. This picture is similar to the Hammerhead. I'm pretty sure there's a picture of the Hammerhead shooting down on a caterpillar. These companies just love shooting on Drake ships. It is 4-person crew, 1 pilot, 3 remote gunners, 53 meters long, 38 meters wide, 14 meters tall. It's got mostly size 2 components with a size 3 generator, 2 size 2 coolers, and it's got 6 size 4 missile racks. So it's definitely a combat focused ship. But it looks like it is at its gray box review. They didn't say it passed it. Usually they like to say that it actually passed the review. So let's find it on here. Anvil Paladin, new model, medium gunship, gray box. We had it in gray box already as of July 2025. We will update this to August 6th was the latest update we got. Confidence on it, I'm gonna say, is still very high. I think this, I'm gonna change this to high. I think this could make it in Q4. 4 months to go from gray box review to fully complete. They didn't mention Lot 0 though. So I actually don't know where to put this July gray box gate review. Is that what we had from the last month? This is May. What did June have to say? Hey, bloody reminder. Paladin is packing. Alright, so in June, they said that the Anvil Paladin continued through Greybox with additional artists being moved onto it, other tasks for its July gate review. Okay, so we already had it set to go into its July gate review, so we don't even have to update this. They didn't say it passed it. So we're just going to say it had its gray box review. But I can't reliably update it to say anything else because they didn't say that it passed. They didn't say that it went into Lot 0 or anything like that. So we're still a little bit iffy on the Anvil Paladin. Moving on, further navigation flow updates were made to the Drake Ironclad, including new elevators and revised staircase locations to improve traversal times around the ship. The Ironclad Assault also progressed through White Box with the team implementing the key differences between it and the base. Okay, so, dude, if you can tell me how to dark mode this, I've been trying to figure it out. Accessibility? Like, where is dark mode on here? And why do they make it so hard to find?
Welcome everybody, thank you for coming in. This is your captain speaking. Tomato will be with you shortly.
I just want dark mode. Hey, Super Mac brother, what's up, dude? How you doing, man? Good to see you. Thank you so much for the raid, bringing in the folks. We're just going over the ship updates of the monthly report this month, and updating all of our hype generators accordingly. Oh, this is Google. I'm on Google Sheets. This isn't Microsoft, but it sounds like Google Sheets does not have a dark mode unless you have mods. That's real smart on their part. Thank you for the raid, folks. Thanks for coming in with the Mac attack. Hope you guys had a great stream over there. Got a little shout out for Super Mac. Google also hates your eyes. I'm sure they want them. Plenty of advertisement potential if you had my eyeballs in your directory. All right, so the Ironclad. I think I'm going to disappoint some people with this one. But guys, the Ironclad's a big ship. The Ironclad is a big ship, folks. And
is dedicated to the cargo bay at the front of it, which has both a front ramp for loading and unloading cargo and small vehicles on the ground, as well as a retractable roof for doing that.
There's a lot to this ship.
When you're out in deep space and you're trying to quickly move some cargo from one person's ship into your ship, really you want as much kind of access to be able to do that as you possibly can. So by having this kind of much larger opening on the top of the ship, it allows us to kind of bring cargo in much easier.
So its role being
a lot of detail. There's a big interior.
Two distinct ways. One, the cargo itself is more protected. It's within the cargo bay that has the armored roof section that covers it. So unlike, say, a hull C where the cargo's on the outside, you can load it from the outside but then protect it with the
gives
classic Drake brutish styling. Support the radding.
It's an awesome ship.
It's not designed to be your.
There's a lot to this, guys, and we're not seeing any mention here that it has passed a white box review, that it's even gone through a white box review. Just that the assault is progressing through white box, and the last update we got on the Ironclad was that it was still in white box. They are still working navigation flow, which generally means it's still in the white box section. Guys, I think the Ironclad's a 2026 ship. I don't think it's gonna come this year. That, you know, we were hoping for the IAE 2025. But I do think that this is going to be an Invictus Week 2026 kind of thing. Blocking out rooms in May, updating layout in June, more people on the job, optimizing traversal in July. We'll add that note in there. This update was given to us on August 6th, which, yeah, guys, I think it's gonna be a little bit later than folks are hoping for. Was there any doubt about that? There was. I mean, dude, people thought the Ironclad was coming Invictus Week this year, which was freaking nuts. We talked about that at length back then, but I was thinking, yeah, they could get through it this year if they really wanted to push for it. But they've got another large ship that it seems like they have planned for later this year, and we'll get to that in a little bit. What's IAE? It is the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. It's their big ship event of November. So their two big events are Invictus Week and IAE. That's when you can generally expect large ship releases. One in May and one in November. Still planning on how to walk around the ship. There's a bit more work to do, yeah. Alan, you're ashamed to say you're one of those people? Hey man, at least you could say it. But yeah, I know, it was big hopes. Sorry to disappoint. That'd be the thing some people call optimism, then. I heard about that somewhere. It's dangerous to have with Star Citizen. I think the only other ship we get this year is probably the Perseus, since they already showed an in-game screenshot of it. Well, I mean, they've got some... We'll get to the Apollo here, too. So let's continue. The RSI Meteor was launched into the PU alongside a full interior retrofit for the Mantis. Believe we have that on here. RSI Meteor, Heavy Strike Fighter, release imminent. Let's go ahead and change that to released in July 2025, correct. And our last update on it is August 6th. So we can now move this down. To here. All of our released ships should be on the bottom. Move these back up. And Prowler Utility can go down here. Greycat MTC can go down here. Look at all these freaking variants that have released since we started this sheet. Continuing, 4 unannounced vehicles progressed down the pipelines. The first was kicked off and is approaching the end of the white box phase. Let's see what we have in terms of unannounced ships. We got one at white box. Officially entered production in May 2025. That could be this. Approaching the end of white box phase could definitely be that. Still means it is in white box though. Any other unannounced ships we have in white box? These are all gray box. This one's white box. This one we had approaching white box review after entering production in June. I do not believe that would be this. They would have mentioned that it had taken its white box review. Interesting that we haven't heard anything about that, but I do think that maybe we can assume that this is the ship we're reading about here. Let me get rid of these. These are confusing me. First was kicked off and is approaching at the end of white box. This was kicked off. Could this be a new ship? Another unannounced ship? We'll come back to that. This one has passed its white box and progressed into the gray box. Okay, so we actually had this one here, approaching white box review after production in June. So we'll say entered gray box in July. I think it's fairly reliable that that's the same ship. Change the recent update to August 6th here. And move it to gray box. Again, unannounced ship, new model. We have no idea what it is for. But we know it progressed in the gray box. Some issues around its cargo mechanism were identified during the review, but were rectified afterward, okay? I'll mention here that experienced cargo mechanism issues. That would be something that'll be telling if we get to the point where this ship is revealed and it doesn't have cargo. Then we'll know. Okay. Do we add another unannounced vehicle then? The unannounced new role. Entered white box. Don't know. Kicked off and progressed through white box in July. First update we're hearing about it is August 6th, 2025. That's first mention. I'm going to say that's low confidence because I don't actually know if this is a new unannounced vehicle or not. Always hoping for the Vulcan. That would be cool. I think the Paladin could come out at IAE, yeah. Or in December. Inferno is talking about the CNOU ship. It could be. Do the silhouettes they showed last year count as unannounced ships? They do. Yes. They haven't announced any names or information for those, so those are technically unannounced. The third continued through development, with all its rooms receiving further geometry refinement alongside additional animation work for its moving elements. That sounds like gray box. So, an unannounced ship possibly in the gray box segment here. Or here. Which entered gray box in... Oh, that's the one we just updated. Okay. We also have two here. Progressing towards final full production in April. Progressing towards white box in May. Went into gray box with detail on the hull in June. That might be what we're reading about. This one progressed into gray box with attention to detail on the hull in June as well. Wait. Are these not the same ship? Did we double up? Progressed to gray box with attention to detail on the hull in June. Went into gray box with attention to detail on the hull in June. Oy. See, this is the difficulty of trying to do this. Now, I don't know if these are inaccurate, if we have two that were supposed to be going into gray box at that time, or if I accidentally doubled it. These are two different first mentions, though. Oh, I knew this was going to happen. It's so confusing. With all its rooms receiving further geometry refinement alongside additional animation work for its moving elements. Okay. I'm going to update one of these, and we'll see what happens. So what is it that they mention here? All rooms receiving further geometry animation work for its moving elements. Received additional animation work. In July. We'll mark this as an update to August 6th. And it still says it is in gray box, right? Yeah, it's just getting geometry refinement. So that's still gray box stuff. The final unannounced vehicle passed a combined gate review. This was done to provide more time for the audio, UI, and VFX teams to add additional details with the aim of setting new standards for their disciplines. That's probably the Kruger ship. Passed a combined review, getting audio, UI, and VFX. That could be happening to the Kruger ship. It's pretty small. And maybe that's this. This looks like something I forgot to remove. This was probably the RSI Meteor. So it might be this ship. I'm going to go ahead and assume that it is the Kruger ship they're talking about here. Let's say it passed a combined review, which means it's probably moved on past its Lot 0 and it's working on its details and its final art stuff. So I'm going to move this to final art, Kruger Intergalactic, passed a combined gate review in July. First mention of it, I don't have a first mention to be honest, so we'll just put down this as the 6th, 2025. Confidence, medium. Can the Kruger be unannounced when they had an ISC about making it? Well, they never said the name of it. So I'm going to assume it's unannounced still. And we'll set the release for this by August 2025. That's pretty certain at this point. Name's on the loading screen now. Right, but it wasn't on the loading screen, I think, when they made this monthly report. In North America, the RSI Apollo, Medivac, and Triage passed their LOD 0 reviews and are now in the final stages, with damage setup, paints, and LOD levels being created. So we can update the Apollo as moving into final art. Still think it's a Q4 release. Passed LOD 0 in July. And our last update was August 6th. High confidence. That's high confidence now. Yeah, I've seen the leak on the Wolf. It's in the PTU now. Not really a leak anymore. The RSI Perseus, this I think is their big release for this year, progressed into the LOD 0 phase. The exterior is now receiving the fine detail work to visually bring it in line with other RSI ships. Perseus, here we are. Patrol boat, LOD 0, beautiful. We still think it's a November 2025 release, but we've got it updated now for August 6th. Past LOD 0 in July. Solid progress on it. And if you don't know about the RSI Perseus, I'll give you a quick look at it. Sorry, I'm rushing through this a little bit because the podcast is coming up soon. Yeah, I think the Perseus will probably be an IAE release.
Like a Polaris with a turret on the top and the bottom, and for a ship of this style, having that bridge at the front didn't quite sit well with us, so we then tried alternates with a more traditional bridge, taking cues from the Bengal, and that definitely
people
looked
love
better, but
that bridge placement.
The upper front turret has a blind spot behind, so we had to make sure that the rear turret could not have a blind spot there, and then deal with the point defense system turrets to help alleviate those spots.
You want it to look aggressive, but you also want it to be unique.
It's a very cool looking ship.
You want it to look like it's part of the family.
It's also not too big.
When you see this ship, you know you're in trouble. That's what players are looking for.
Like similar size to a Hammerhead, I think it's like 110
so originally
meters.
The brief for the ship was a real skeleton crew of 4 men. So you had the pilot, the captain, and the 2 turret gunners. But as we developed the ship, it sort of felt a bit odd that such a small crew was operating such a relatively large ship. So the crew size for the ship is 6 man. That gives you a pilot, captain, 2 manned turret guns because the S7 twin turrets are manned, and then it leaves you with these 2 extra roles that are really flexible in terms of what you want them to do.
So we wanted to layer in all the functionality that John wanted, but also
smaller
make it
than the
easy to
Hammerhead.
navigate.
Okay.
It should be clear for the player at any point.
Yeah, it's going to be like a
what part of
really
the ship
good
they're in.
fast
And it's
strike
split
vehicle
over
that
3
hits
decks.
heavy, I think.
So the lower deck is your cargo and access to the lower turret. And
This
then
thing is
go
going to
up,
absolutely
that's sort of the main
just
deck, and that goes
maul
from front
on
to back.
large and medium
You know,
ships.
you can reach your front turret, torpedo room, or you can go right back into habitation and the captain's room. And there's also a central lift for ease of navigation, basically. And then the top floor is bridge, escape pods, and engineering section. So for a player, it should all be quite straightforward.
I think this ship really will add something to the fleet gameplay that is growing within Star Citizen. We've already seen aspects of that.
The fleet gameplay that was growing back in 2020. Come on, John. Come on. Fleet gameplay. We like barely make fleet gameplay work right now, but you know what? Whatever. Yeah, it looks a little bit different in the monthly report. It looks more similar to, like, say, a Polaris or the Idris in construction, and less like sharp and edgy. But I'm still waiting to see what it looks like when we finally get eyes on it for ourselves. That's a big freaking gun on this thing. Very cool ship. All right, finally, the Drake Kraken had further pre-production work done. It's still in pre-production. They identified more areas where kits from the Ironclad will help speed up production, as well as some other challenging internal areas that require updated concept time, such as engineering. And the recent added small medical facility. Oh, Kraken's getting a medical facility. So the Kraken's still in pre-production, but as they've always wanted to, the Ironclad is speeding up production by doing a smaller ship first. But we will update that one accordingly as well. New model spacecraft carrier still in pre-production. What the actual hell? Continued pre-production. Got medical facility in July 2025. We'll update that latest as August 6th. Still thinking it's going to be late next year that we see the Kraken come in, if that. If they release the Ironclad and the Kraken in the same year, that'd be crazy. And then imagine if they also came through with the Pioneer. Nuts! So many big ships coming in now. They're starting to actually produce some of these big ships, and it feels good. It feels good. Hopefully they have gameplay that actually matches them and makes them worthwhile. That, my friends, is your ship update for July of 2025. Here's a picture of the Apollo from the front, looking quite nice. They still got that crew elevator in the front there. Looks like beds up here too. There you go, folks. Monthly report, ships, all the goods. Thank you everybody for checking this out. As always, we will be back next month with another update on ships, and hopefully I will have a little bit more time to film this so that we can go through these more detailed and maybe remove some of these doubles that we've got in here now, because it's just getting a little bit confusing with the way they talk about these unannounced ships. Either way, I thank you all. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for supporting this stream and what we do with these videos and what we do here. As I said, we are out of here in about 8 days and we are not coming back. We're clearing everything out. We're getting out of this place. It is not healthy for us. We're going back home and we will be setting up there for the long term. So consistent stream times, more consistent videos, definitely more community nights on the Discord, and hopefully some more garden meetups when we get to in the Bay Area, California, or the Sacramento Valley area. And again, I just want to thank you guys for making it possible that we can have the confidence to make that call and not feel like we need to come back here. Thank you everybody so much for being here. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Again, if you are a supporter, if you got a subscription during this stream, if you got a membership or anything like that, and you want to make use of that, I'm about to start a podcast here in about 3 minutes with Mr. Kraken over on the Discord channel. Would love to have you guys with us. We'll be talking about 4.3, some of these new ships that they're talking about coming into the game, especially the Kruger Intergalactic one, as well as the new locations that we've got coming up. And I hope to be seeing you there. Please come and annoy us a little bit in chat. Throw your questions in. Complicate things a little bit. If you need a way to get there, !Discord will make it pop up. Just make sure to connect your Twitch or YouTube channel and you will have access right away. All right, folks. Let's find somebody for us to go raid so you guys can have some good funs while we're off having our own funs talking about the game. Looks like Detox is on. Ah, Bognagus is on. I'm gonna throw you over to Bognagus, guys. Again, have yourselves a lovely day. Treat yourselves well. Maverick, thank you so much for the bits, dude. Your support, you always freaking come through, man. I appreciate you, buddy. You guys have a wonderful day. Eat something you love. Give somebody you love a hug. Do something that you love. Enjoy your hobbies. Enjoy yourself. You're great people. You deserve it. See you tomorrow for some more gameplay. Bye, everybody.